Yes, good morning, warriors. Perfect, great. Two classes over? Yes, good. Today is third class, and today you're going to get your money's worth of CA final. Yes, so we're going to do some really good discussions on CA final. Let's today understand the most important part. Why are we into income tax 25? Yes, we're going to discuss about why are we in income tax 25. At the same time, try to build some understanding on how to read something, how to read a law, probably make something more understandable, but at the same time realize why the simplification ended up causing more problems. Yes, so that is what today's agenda is going to be all about. Yes, perfect. With that understanding, what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through a simple understanding. First, we have to write down a few things, so we are going to write them down. Yes, we have some yesterday's discussion, so I'm going to do a quick revision of yesterday's discussion. We make some notes out and then we proceed on forward. Yes, if I remember yesterday's discussion, we started with understanding the word called direct tax and laws. We started from the back where we said, first of all, what is a law? And we simply came and clarified saying law means a rule or a regulation. Whether it becomes legal or not is different, but it's a rule or a regulation which you have to follow. Then we moved on to something called tax, and we said tax is nothing but it's a charge which is levied on you. Charge can be on anything, that is called a tax. Now, a law and a tax does become legal only when the Constitution approves for it. When the Constitution approves for it, anyone remembers the article number? Very good. The article number is 246, which comes and confirms that you become legal law in India only by an authority of law. Yes. Then we moved on forward to understanding the word direct and indirect, where we confirmed saying the only primary difference as a CA final student you should understand is the difference between direct and indirect is that direct is on income, indirect is on, and that's the only understanding that you have to keep in mind. Yes, that is what we ended up forward, and then we moved on to understanding the difference between a law and a act. We confirmed saying law is bigger and act is part of an law, and therefore we said them, we'll split them into 5 buckets. Bucket number 1 said act, bucket number 2 said rules, bucket number 3 said circulars, 4 says notifications, and 5 says case law. The extreme left goes to legislative body, the extreme right goes to judiciary body, the middle sits with the administrative wing. Now if you're sitting with the income tax, the first left side parliament takes the decisions, because we confirm saying income tax is levied by the union list except for agricultural income, which is going to the state list. Yes, then we moved on to the next administrative body, which in income tax is confirmed as CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxes, and then we moved on to the judicial body, where I told you there are 4 layers of appeal in income tax. We start with CITA, ITAT, High Courts and Supreme Court. Very good. These are the 4 discussions that we had in yesterday's class. Yes. Then we moved on to understanding, do we really need income tax 25? And between you and me, we are clear. We don't. We are not required to read income tax 25, but for some reason it is part of syllabus, so we are going to work with that. Yes. At some stage, the one thing which I have realized personally, people, is that yes, they tried to simplify English. No doubts. I agree to it. Yes. But my question is very simple. As a chartered accountant, are you only going to practice in income tax? No, you are going to read probably some more acts like Companies Act, GST, FEMA, very good. SEBI Act, padikka poriya, kashtam. FCRA, what is FCRA? Foreign Contribution Regulations Act, which primarily discusses with all kinds of donations which the trust receives. Very good. Next. Customs Act, okay, fine enough. LLP Act, I don't think you'll read it, but nevertheless. Very good. IBC is a very important code that you're going to learn. My question is very simple. Simplification happened of a law only under income tax, which means the law still remains the same for other things. Which means if you go to other things, you will still read the word proviso, you will still read the word explanation, you will still read the word notwithstanding anything contained in the provisions of the act. The only thing which has been simplified is Income Tax Act, which means tell me one thing, as a chartered accountant, tomorrow when you qualify, can you only rely on, okay, now everything has changed to irrespective, so I will only read irrespective, which means now you have only increased your syllabus. But at one point of time in income tax, you have to read it in a simplified format, where in other laws, you still have to retain whatever you have learned in the old laws. Yes, which means as a part of my responsibility, I can't just tell you what is changed in income tax. I also have to tell you how it looks in other laws as well. Yes, so we're going to do a comparative study to make the sense out of it. Now, I'm going to do comparative between 1961 and 2025, but your understanding is very simple. 1961 looks the same as any other laws. So we rely on 1961, you automatically understand other laws also. That's the understanding we have. Any doubts on the understanding? No? Chalo, let's write some notes of yesterday's class and then we move on forward. People, a certain code I'm going to give you. As an anchor, I've already told you, I'm going to tell you how to write a paper. Yes, and therefore there are certain codes we are going to follow. I've given you a multicolor pen. Yes, for those people who received a multicolor pen, the format is very simple. Rahul BI is also going to use colors. You are also going to use colors. We are going to make sure that the color code matches to each other. Yes, so the color coding that I have decided is like this. For all the headings, you're going to highlight. Yes, so if I'm going to give you a heading, you're automatically going to highlight the heading. I've already given you a highlighter for that. Yes or no? Good. Next, any content which you have, all the content will be written all in black. Please make sure to write your content in black, not the black which is there in my pen, the black which is there with yourself. Yes, that content we are going to write. All irrelevant things. All irrelevant things are going to be written in blue. Yes. Now let me clarify what I mean by irrelevant things. Irrelevant things according to me means something which I am writing right now for your understanding, or examples that we are going to write down. Things which you know need for your understanding purposes but is not relevant for your exam readings. Yes, I want to make it extremely clear that today itself when you make your notes, everything which is given in blue will never be read once again. We're only going to be using it for preparation stages, not for your exam stages. So that at least when you read for your exams, it should not feel like you're reading 200 pages. It should feel like you're only reading some 50 sides of black sides. Everything 150 is not relevant for you. Yes, so we're going to make that understanding to that clear. Yes, then we are going to write all important words in red. All important words go to red, and then all your amendments go in green. Very good. This is the understanding that you and I are going to build, people. This is the format that you're going to follow along with me. Yes, so I don't have to come and tell you which pen to change. You automatically should understand it yourself. Are we clear to go? Yes, come on. With this color coding, we are going to go forward. In the first page, we're going to write a very simple heading. The heading is called basics. The heading is going to be called basics. You're going to write it along with me. Yes. Under basics, you're going to write type of laws. Sorry, heading should be highlighted. Write with any color, it doesn't matter. As long as you highlight it, I'm fine. Yes, so heading is called basics. Under basics, you're going to write type of laws. Type of laws. Please move to your blue color pen. Please move to your blue color pen. People, type of laws, how many are there? 5. Come on, 5. Split into 5. Split into 5 and fill it for myself. Split into 5. Come on, people. You know the answers. Come on, all the 5. Finish it off. Finish it off. Finish it off. If you need a reference, it's on the screen, but I want you to write it yourself. We have acts, we have rules, we have circulars, notifications, and case laws. Yes, 5 things has been split off. Move on to the next line. Write it in red color. Move on to the next line. Write in red color. People, what are we splitting into? Access with legislative body. Access with legislative body. The whole next list goes to administrative body, with the case laws moving on to judiciary body. Ready? Yes. Tell me, legislative body is? Who's the legislative body of India? Next line hits parliament. The next line hits parliament. The whole administrative body is with CBDT. Last one goes to courts. Last one goes to courts and tribunals. Last one goes to courts and tribunals. People, I'm assuming you know this, but I'm still asking this out. Do you know the difference between a court and a tribunal? Okay. Let's think about it logically. People, I have a very simple question. I have an income tax problem. If I go and approach High Court, the judges who are sitting in High Court, are they required to be an expert in income tax? Which means prima facie, will they be the right person to approach? No. But it may be possible that I may have a very technical issue, and therefore it is better to go and approach an expert. Yes, at that stage, most of the laws decided, you know what, before you end up reaching courts, it's better that we start with an expert. At least technical matters can be solved at that level. And therefore, most of the laws decided to create something called a tribunal. Yes, in a very fair sense, tribunal is a quasi-judicial body. And when I use the word quasi-judicial, it's like basically saying they are not a court, but they act like a court. Yes, which in basic terms we call as deeming fiction, if you have heard about this. Yes, something may not be true, but we are deeming it to be true. So a tribunal is like a court, but not exactly a court. They have all the powers of a court, no doubts about it, but they still don't have the authority as a court. Yes, which is why when you technically go to a court, the person sitting there, we call him a judge. But when you go to a tribunal, we never call him a judge. We may refer to him as your lordship and everything, but we don't call him a judge. Which is why yesterday's class, if you remember, I was telling you, in IT-80, there are two persons who sit. One is an accounting member, one is a judicial member. We still call him a member only. We don't call him a judge. They don't really have the authority to talk in that terms. Yes. Now the reason is very simple. As you approach forward, I will come and tell you, IT-80 is the maximum place where you can go for fact findings. Matlab all technical matters will stop at IT-80 level. At High Court level, you will not be talking about any technical matters. You will there go only for one thing, for a mistake of law. For a mistake of law. So what happens in real life is that when you file an appeal, the court will first ask you a question. Are you coming to me for a technical matter or are you coming for a legal issue? If you say that, sir, I'm coming for a technical matter, IT-80 will take it up. If it's a legal issue also, IT-80 will take it up, no problem. But when you go to High Court, the moment you enter High Court will tell you if it's a technical matter, I'm sorry, you should have solved it at IT-80 level itself. Don't come to me for any other matters. I will only take up matters of law. I will not take up matters of technicalities. Fact finding is stopping at IT-80 level, which is why when you go forward, I will come and tell you, IT-80 is called the last fact finding authority. They cannot go anything more than that. That is the same powers any tribunal has. Like in Companies Act, we have, very good, we have NCLT. In GST, we have, no idea. It's called GST Appellate Tribunal. There's something called GST Appellate Tribunal. You might have also heard something called SESTAT. Heard about this word? There's something called SESTAT, which was old laws. Before GST came into picture, SESTAT used to take up charge on all those things. Central Excise Tribunals. Yes, now it has become GST Appellate Tribunals. Every law has their own respective tribunals to take care of. In income tax, we call it IT-80. Any doubts on this part? Yes, let's structure this off from an income tax perspective. I am in legislative. I'm in legislative. People, what are the acts we are going to learn together? We're going to learn Income Tax Act 25. Next, Finance Act 26. Very good. One more. Income Tax Amendment Act 2026 is also going to be applicable for your syllabus. These are the three acts that you will have to learn along with me. That is what we have written down on the bottom. Come on the left side. On the left side. Question, do you still have to learn Income Tax 1961? Yes or no? Yes, you will have to. You are one of the luckier batches to also learn Income Tax 1961. You don't have a choice. Now, how will IC ask questions on that? I'm still wondering on that, but still, you will definitely learn Income Tax 1961 too. Yes, so you have your Income Tax Act 2025, Finance Act 26, you have Income Tax Amendment Act 26. Again, I'm clarifying this one thing to you people, the last activity, the Income Tax Act 2026 has still not been notified. It is only still an ordinance. It was passed in July, it is still an ordinance, has not been notified. It will get notified somewhere in the end of August, because end of August is your winter session. They will start your winter session in end of August, that time it will get ratified. Until then, this is still a ordinance, but yes, for your exam, it is definitely going to become an act, don't worry about it. Clear? Yes, then we have the next thing which is called rules, and we have Income Tax Rules 2020. Very good. We have Income Tax Rules 2026. We have Income Tax Rules 2026. Leaving on the circulars and notifications, the last thing is called Case laws. Yes, I told you the 4 levels, people. The levels are, come on, go down. Go down. It's called CITA, ITAT, HC and SC. It's called CITA, ITAT, HC and SC. Careful on the CITA, people. It is CIT within bracket is. It's called Commissioner of Income Tax Appeals. It's called Commissioner of Income Tax Appeals. When I go to the assessment procedure, I'll tell you there is also something called CIT. So you'll have 2 persons. One is CIT, one is CITA. CIT is the assessing officer itself, the person who will do your assessment. CITA is the person who will handle your appeal matters. They both are not the same parties. Yes, 2 different parties altogether. One who will do your assessment, one who will take care of the appeal matters. That is where it will go. So you have to be very careful on whether you are in the administrative department or are you in the appellate department. Yes. Now clarification which you need to understand at CA final level for your examinations. Case laws are part of syllabus. Yes, but ICI has made it extremely clear. I cannot give you so many case laws because if I start from CITA level, it becomes a problem. And we discussed this yesterday. A CITA case is only applicable to the jurisdiction. ITAT is applicable to the respective state. High Court is also applicable to the respective state and Supreme Court is applicable to the respective India itself. Yes, at that stage, ICI decided there is something wrong about ITAT. The problem which is happening is ITAT Chennai is not following ITAT Mumbai orders. ITAT Mumbai is not following ITAT Rajasthan orders. Every ITAT thinks I am doing better. And therefore, there is no consistent decisions coming at ITAT level. When we go forward, I'll tell you people, crazy things will happen at ITAT level. That person will literally come and say, who the hell is telling income tax is right? I will create new income tax. They will start creating new laws itself in ITAT level. So ITAT is completely crazy. And therefore, ICI decided we will not test you on any case laws relating to CIT and ITAT. You'll only be given case laws from High Court and Supreme Court. So your whole book is only notified from High Court and Supreme Court level. The first 2 is only for theoretical provisions, not relevant for your exam purposes. Is that clear? Any doubts on this? Perfect. Let's go and approach everything one by one. We're starting with the first thing, people. The top left is Act. Yes. So you and I are going to learn what is called Income Tax Act 2025. Very good. We had a very brief understanding in yesterday's class where I told you Income Tax 2025 is getting applicable from 1st April 26, which has now comprised of 536 sections on record, but 535 effectively we have. Yes, effectively we have 535 sections along with some schedules and all coming into picture. Let's come to that stage at a later point. Right now, you and I are going to discuss how to look at an act. Yes, so you and I are going to look at an act and we are going to try to build around something. So let's take a very simple example. Forgetting income tax, people. Imagining you and I are going to become the new finance ministers. And therefore, you and I are going to create a new law. Yes, decision is very simple. You and I have decided we are going to start taxing something. Pick something to tax. What do you think should be taxable going forward? Liquor, income tax mein. Ini mele Valentine's Day gift kudta taxable. Bro code. Yes, so ini mele you and I have decided ini mele Valentine's Day gift kudta taxable. That is a decision you and I have made. Yes, so we are going to create a new act, people. In that new act, we are going to come and say ini mele Valentine's Day gift kudta taxable. That is the understanding. Yes, so let's imagine you have to create a law. To create a law, you first have to start with a section number. Yes, so imagine I started with a section number, a very random section number I've put, let's say 23. This is section number 23 where we are going to write a law. People, give me a simple English. Don't overcomplicate it. Come on, I've given you the law. Make an English. This is the start of your writing CA final exams. Come on. Going forward. In a law, it seems. Any gift given on the occasion of Valentine's Day will be treated as fully taxable. Very good. Yes. So you and I have agreed on saying section 23, any person receiving a gift on the occasion of Valentine's Day will be considered as fully taxable. My question is very simple. Can I write it as section 23 itself? No. Under section 23, there will be multiple things. So therefore, this is the first line we are going to start with. And therefore, it cannot be section 23 itself. We will write it as section 23. Very good. Under section 23, we will write subsection 1, which means section 23 now needs a heading. Heading is Valentine's Day is heading. Huh? Heading is tax on Valentine's Day gift. Simple. Yes or no? We have written it as tax on Valentine's Day gift. Here I am writing down saying any person, what? Receiving a gift. Receiving a gift on the occasion of VD. You understand the full form? Shall be fully taxable. At the rate of. Hey. 100% day. Kastagalo. Question then I will ask is who will pay the tax? The receiver or payer? Which? Oh, compromise of life. Huh? If receive, so if I give chocolate, chocolate goes to department. People, something at least you give me, no? Let's be 99%. Kitano level, huh? 50. Chalo, take it. 50 is a good number. Yes, which means in Mala, if Rahul gives a chocolate to someone will keep half the chocolate will go to department. Yes, sharing model, because apparently we are celebrating Valentine's now with income tax department also. Yes, that is what the law is. This is what we have created together. Any doubts on this part? Yes, people, now there is a certain problem. You have told any gift given on Valentine's Day will now become fully taxable. My question is very simple. What is your intention with this? Very good. Between couples, if you share any gift, it should become fully taxable. That's the understanding. Yes or no? Yes. Imagine a very simple conversation. Today, Rahul is going to Adarsh and is coming and saying, dear Adarsh, by the way, today is Valentine's Day. Yes. So Rahul is going to Adarsh and coming and saying, Adarsh, I would like to sell some goods to you. Pure business transaction. Rahul is selling some goods to Adarsh. Adarsh, like every Jain family member, comes and says, Rahul bhaiya, discount. Logical. Yes, so Rahul is selling the goods for 1 lakh rupees to Adarsh. Adarsh very technically comes and asks, Bhaiya chahiye mereko discount. Rahul told, TK, friend of mine, let's give discount. I told him 90,000. Technically speaking, Adarsh got a 10,000 rupees ka gift, which technically in accounting words you call as trade discount. Tell me people, today is Valentine's Day. Adarsh is any person. Adarsh is any person receiving a gift of 10,000 rupees on Valentine's Day. Adarsh is now taxable for the 10,000. Are you fine with this? You're not fine with this? Matlab something about my provision is wrong. I need to clarify my provision a little better to say that I only want to tax Valentine's Day gift between. Very good. Yes or no? Yes, which means now the main provision needs an exception. Ha, yeah, na? Yes. At this stage, what will happen is old laws would have come and told, let's give an exception. And exceptions are given by, very good. Exceptions are given by the word called provisos. So we start then by coming and putting a word. I will not go subsection 2. In subsection 1 itself, now I will write in a word called provided. Very good. I will write in a word called provided. The moment I use the word provided, I have now clarified something about subsection 1 will not apply. Something about subsection 1 will not apply. Hi or no? Yes. At this stage, I am going to write provided that what? Any person who is not in a romantic relationship should be excluded from this computation. Hi or no? So we will write provided that any person, romantic is fine, no? Sorry, okay. Any person not in a intimate relationship, likh do main. Just being more technical. Any person not in an intimate relationship is excluded from subsection 1. Yes. Now my question is very simple. Tell me people, you have subsection 1 coming and saying it is taxable. You have proviso saying it is not taxable. Tell me which one is superior. Proviso becomes superior. Matlab, if a person is reading the law, should he read the subsection 1 first or proviso first? I should pay more attention to proviso because subsection 1 is the generic term, but proviso now clarifies what to not tax. Yes, good. We have now understood what a proviso means. Matlab, now we have created an exception to the rule. Yes, now I have some more problems. Problem number 1, you said any person receiving a gift. Any person receiving a gift. What gifts are you talking about? Cash, kindness. People, between intimate relationship, before chocolate, something else happens. Don't think materials. You know how Valentine's Day work. You are not giving gifts for free of things. You are looking at other things also. Yes or no? Yes, there are non-material activities which are more important. Tell me, are you required to tax all those things? Do you want to tax those things? Because to tax, first of all, you need a value. And I'm assuming those things don't have a value. You can't find FMB for those kind of things, people. Yes, because then you'll have to go to Thailand only. Different conversation. Let's not go there. Yes, point is very simple. When you're telling the word gift, I need to now clarify what a gift looks like. Hi Anna. Yes, Appa, my question is very simple. What kind of gifts would you like to tax? Cash? Agreed. No problems. Next. Why would you like to give chocolates to department? People, if I'm giving dairy milk, you think I will break dairy milk and give some more? Doesn't work out. No, department is not interested with your dairy milk. Appa, what is department going to look forward to? Items with monetary values. Matlab, you and I will agree saying gift of 10 rupees and all is not important. We may want a gift more than 5 lakh. 500 is good enough. A gift more than 500, yes, department may start questioning you. Hi Anna. Yes, which means now I'm again coming and telling a gift less than 500 is not taxable. Agreed, not agreed. Matlab, now I have a second exception. How do I write a second exception? Provided. Very good. Second proviso moves on to something called as provided further. At this stage, I will start writing provided further, which means I am clarifying now I have a second exception. And this second exception, I will come and say provided further. Any gift exceeding, not exceeding the value of 500 will not be taxable. Move forward. Done. Yes, people, imagine if I had to write a third proviso. So first we wrote provided that, provided further. Third one is called provided. Very good. Third one is called provided also. At this stage, the law completes itself. 3 provisos can be written: provided that, provided further, provided also. And that's where your proviso hits. Yes, a fourth proviso continues with also. You don't move after that. Also itself means a generic word. And that's how the proviso ends. Any doubts on this part? Are we clear? Yes, this is the first subsection where we have written what is the law, what do we want to talk about, and what are the exceptions to it. Yes, now there is a certain problem. Problem is that you have told a gift exceeding 500 rupees is taxable now. My question is very simple. If I give cash, I can determine the value. What if I'm giving a kind? How do you know if it's worth 500 rupees? What are you looking for? Fair value. You're looking for the fair value. Now my question is very simple. Imagine Rahul is running a stationery shop. Rahul goes to his girlfriend and gives stationery. Tell me people, Rahul would have bought the stationery at 50 rupees. But Rahul may be selling the stationery for 600 rupees. Because Rahul's purchase price in a wholesale market may be 50. But Rahul is giving it to customers at 600 rupees. This stationery has been given to my girlfriend. Will you value it at 50 and say not taxable? Or will you value at 600 and say taxable? Why? You are looking at what the market looks like. Yes, which means at this stage you also need to confirm how to value the gift. Agreed, not agreed? Yes, which means I need to give a confirmation now. Tell me, is that an exception or is it clarification? It's a clarification, and clarifications happen by the word. Very good. It happens by the word explanation. And at this stage, what will I do? I will start including the word called explanation. And explanation in income tax happens in numerical terms. Matlab, you will write explanation 1, explanation 2, explanation 3. So I will write explanation 1 for the purpose of gift. What? For the purpose of gift in kind, the value shall be the FMB. The value shall be the FMB. Logical enough? Yes. Question. People, now I've written a provision, I've written a proviso, I've written an explanation. Tell me which one is the superior most. Proviso is the superior most because it's an exception to the rule. You need to first prioritize that. Second, question is explanation bigger than subsection, or is it the subsection bigger than explanation? Understand this carefully. Explanation is only clarifying things. When there is nothing to clarify, there is no point of clarifying it, which means in order of priority, proviso sits on the top, then comes the provision itself, and then comes explanations. That's the order of reading things. Are you clear on this part? Yes, which means at no point of time can an explanation override the provision itself. It cannot override the provision itself. If it had to do it that way, it should have come by proviso. Very good. It should have come by proviso, which means proviso is the only thing which has the power to override an section. Any doubts on this? Are we clear? Yes, this is how the understanding was in the old laws. The old laws worked on this level. The old laws worked on this level where we wrote provision, we wrote proviso, we wrote explanation. Yes, once again, Arjun, give me a second. At some stage, Income Tax 2025 came and said, this looks complicated. I don't know why, but it looks complicated apparently. Yes, and therefore Income Tax came and said, see, explanation is also fine because you're writing explanation 1, explanation 2, explanation 3. At some stage in Income Tax, there was a certain problem. In some sections, for example, I know a section, it was 1023C. 1023C ended up having 24 provisos, which means you're writing provided, provided further, provided also, provided also, provided also, provided also. Yes, at this stage, one big problem came. Suddenly, at the last stage, if I come and say, referring to 12th proviso, what will you have to do? You have to go from the top and count. This is proviso 1, this is proviso 2, this is proviso 3. Problem happened at certain stage where what happened? A proviso itself started having proviso. Which means now what happens is you have proviso 1, proviso 2, proviso 3, proviso 4 itself has the proviso. And then you have proviso 5. Now the question is, should I read proviso ka proviso as 5th proviso, 4th proviso ka proviso? Which means at certain stage counting became an issue. You didn't know where to reach at 12th proviso. At that stage, Income Tax 25 decided, you know what, provisos are causing problems. With no numberings coming into picture, I am not able to track this properly. And therefore, Income Tax 25 first time decided, let's skip this off. Which means in Himalaya, you don't have a proviso itself. In Himalaya, you don't have a proviso itself. How did it change? They came and said, boss, you want an exception only? No. Do one thing. Make the exception as a subsection itself. Make the exception as a subsection itself. Which means what I'm going to do is, I already had subsection 1. Now I will include subsection 2. And subsection 2 will now come and say this is an overriding provision. Overriding provision will be written in new income tax as, very good. It will now be written as irrespective of anything contained in subsection 1. Irrespective of anything contained in subsection 1, every person who is not a intimate relationship will not be taxable. Will not be taxable. Yes, at a certain stage, if you come and ask me, this looks simpler. No doubts, it agrees. It definitely looks simpler. The problem starts at later stages. I'll tell you about it later, but right now this was the rule. Yes, if you want to write the next one, what will you write? Again, subsection 3. You'll again write irrespective of anything contained in subsection 1. You'll write anything contained in subsection 1 and you'll proceed forward. And you'll proceed forward. That is how the proviso came into picture. Any doubts on this part? Yes. Now, okay, I understand proviso was an issue and therefore you changed it. Did explanation cause a problem? No, explanations were not causing a problem, but there is a certain issue. Understand, people, you wrote this explanation against what? Subsection 1. But in the new income tax, what is happening? This explanation is not just applicable for subsection 1. It is now applicable even for subsection 2 and subsection 3. Which means now the problem which came is, I don't know where to write the explanation. I don't know whether I should introduce the explanation against subsection 1, subsection 2, subsection 3. And therefore they said, you know what, let's do one thing. Let's delete this also. Which means now explanation is also not there. What happened? This became subsection 4. This became subsection 4. And now subsection 4 comes and says, for the purpose of 1, 2 and 3, gift will be valued at FMV. Gift will be valued at FMV. That is how the simplification took place when it came to income tax 2025. Any doubts on this? Yes. Now, logically speaking, this makes sense. I'm not denying it to you. The problem starts when there are too much data. Imagine I have 14 provisos. Now you have 14 subsections. Imagine I have 5 explanations. You have 5 more subsections. Which means where technically in old income tax you would have read only section 23 with subsection 1. Now you'll read section 23 with 50 subsections. The volume remains the same. It's not going to change. The content is also the same only. Just that the way of presentation has changed. Yes. Now, if you personally come and ask me, what will you prefer? Old or newer? I would say the answer is old only. I would say the answer is old only. Think about it logically. People, when I wrote this proviso, my understanding was I wanted to write this as an exception only to subsection 1, which means by the rule of formatting, when I was reading Income Tax 1961, it was very easy to read. I can come and read subsection 1 on the top left. Proviso will come a little bit on the right side alignment. Easier for me to understand. These are all related to each other. But today when I read, what will happen? I will read subsection 1, subsection 2, subsection 3, subsection 4. They all look the same line. Apo, I am not very clear. Up to what stage it is relevant to subsection 1 and at what stage am I reading a new law? Yes or no? For example, right now we have completed this. I want to write now subsection 2. In subsection 1, what did we write? Any gift given on Valentine's Day is fully taxable. Yes or no? Yes, people, there is a problem. You and I can celebrate Valentine's Day on different days. Because last I checked, marriage anniversary happens only once in a year. But today Gen Z generation wants once in a month. इस दिन को हम मिले थे, इस दिन को बात हुई थी. Yes or no? Yes, you are meeting on a different day, you are kissing on a different day, hugging is happening on a different day. 1 month anniversary, 15 days anniversary, 15 days to go, 7 days to go. Yes, anniversary discussion itself has changed. Apo, very well possible that Valentine's Day for you and me may be different. Apo, we may have to clarify what is Valentine's Day. Yes or no? People, common understanding is 14th Feb of every year. Yes. So right now I am introducing subsection 2 where I am saying Valentine's Day for the purpose of the act shall be 14 Feb 2026 for example. 14 Feb 2026 for example. Now I have introduced subsection 2. Notice what is happening. When I read the law right now, I know subsection 1 with 2 provisos and an explanation all relevant to one another. Subsection 2 is a separate thing altogether. I don't have a problem. Reading becomes simpler. But now if I am reading on the right side, what will I do? I will now introduce subsection 5. Where in subsection 5 I will say Valentine's Day refers to 14 Feb 26. Looking at this in a straight line, tell me, is it easy to read? No, because I don't know at which stage I have to stop. Yes or no? Unless you pay proper attention, this becomes a whole problem altogether. Agreed, not agreed? Yes. Now, yes, I cannot deny to you, this is the future for you. This is what you have to read, no doubts. But then the problem is, this is still applicable to you. Tell me why. Because the right side is what you're going to read in Income Tax 25. But the left side is the format which you're going to refer in every other law. You forget 1961, assuming that is not applicable anymore also. But if I'm reading Companies Act, this is the template. If I'm reading LLP Act, this is the template. If I'm reading FEMA also, this is the template. Matlab, technically, you are still responsible to read provisos and explanations. But when you read income tax alone, you have to forget that there was a concept like that. Yes or no? Apo, Income Tax 25 technically is acting like the rebel child. He's basically coming and saying, I will not follow what the world follows. People, do you like those kind of children? Do you like those kind of children? Straight on the face only. Yes or no? Which means technically rebel child is right now sitting separately. He's like, you read me separately, you read everyone else separately. How will that work out? If you had to simplify, you had a responsibility. You should have simplified everything. Consistency should have been followed across India. Why is Nirmala ma'am getting special priorities? What is wrong with MCA? By the way, MCA is also handled by Nirmala ma'am only. She is the Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs. Which means one way, somehow, somewhere, Nirmala ma'am has given an indication. The indication is that I am slowly going to start changing everything off. Yes, so you never know, by the time you write your CA final or by the time you clear your CA final, you may see that Companies Act 2013 has become Companies Act 2027. GST 2017 becomes GST 2027. FEMA now suddenly becomes 2027. Suddenly one day they'll launch up and they'll be like, you know what, we are going to simplify every law. Which means one day suddenly when you open the book, you're like, everything you're reading new only. All subjects have changed. Yes, right now you're only struggling with income tax. Futurely you'll struggle with everything. Yes, consistency works in a different fashion altogether. I have no idea why this is working out, but that is how the logic is. Any doubts on the logic? Yes, clear enough to go? Perfect. If you have understood the format of a law, people, let's understand this in detail. Yes, imagine if I give you a very simple example. This is an example which I've given to you. Yes, this is as per the new income tax. You have to look at this and tell me very carefully what is the numbers given. How do you refer each thing? Let's do the last one first. Last one, people. Section 92. Very good. Subsection 2. Clause M. Okay. Clause M. Subclause 2. Sorry. It's called item B. Sub-item 1. Yes, this is how any law is read, people. This is something for you to understand. So it starts with section, subsection, clause, subclause, item and sub-item. Now if you notice very carefully, everything has a format. Section will always be in numbers, subsection will always be in numbers, clauses, alphabet. This is a change which income tax did. In 1961, clauses were actually in Roman numerals. But in income tax 25, clauses have now become alphabets. That too, smaller case alphabets. Notice very carefully, because what if you notice this is a smaller case alphabet and here there is a uppercase alphabet, smaller case Roman numeral, uppercase Roman numeral, consistency has been maintained. Yes, so the one thing which income tax 25 did properly is maintaining consistency. That one thing they did properly. Other than that, I am not sure what happened. Yes, so right now it looks like this, where you see section 92, subsection 2, clause becomes lower alphabet case, subclause becomes lower Roman numerals. Then you have items as an upper case and sub items as an upper Roman numerals. Any doubts on this? Sure. Yes. Let me tell you why income tax 25 did worst after that. Yes. After that things went crazy. I am on the left side. Can you read this for me? Section 2. Subsection 29. Clause F. Subclause 2, item A. Very good. Wrong answer. टेबल सब नहीं है. टेबल होता तो मैं लिखता. This is where inter went wrong. This is section 2, clause 29. This is section 2, clause 29. Subclause F. Yes, next. Item 2, sub-item A. Now technically if you notice, everything has been skipped off. Where there item was upper alphabet, now item is lower Roman numeral. Yes, which means that one mistake has caused a problem. Question is very simple. Why on earth is this clause and not subsection? Section 2 is definitions. The clause is there, subsection is missing. Why subsection is not there? No. Subsection is written in lower numbers. Subsection is written in numbers only, no? No, this is also new act only. Both are new acts only, don't worry. Section 229 is the definition of income under new income tax act. Any clue why the second thing is not called subsection and why is it called clause? The answer is hidden in the question you gave me. The section 2 is, whereas section 92 is income from other sources charging section. Yes, understand this very logically. People, when I wrote section 92, I am writing income from other sources. All items which are written in income from other sources are linked to each other. 92.1 will come and say what is IFRS. 92.2 will come and say what are covered in IFRS. 92.3 will come and say what is not covered in IFRS. Everything relating to a single topic. Notice when you write the word section and subsection. Subsection means what? Something which is part of the section. Now look at section 2. Section 2.1 will talk about something. Section 2.2 will talk about something else. Section 2.3 will talk about something else, because these are all definitions. People, is all the definitions related to each other? No, which means I will at any point of time read any definition separately only. But when I'm reading section 92, I'll have to read everything together. Can I directly read 92.3? I have to read 92.1 to understand 92.3. But when I'm reading section 229, I know 229 is income. And therefore I will read 229 separately only. Yeah, no. Yes, I'm reading 2101. 2101 is capital asset definition. For example, I don't know if it's true, but I'm just clarifying to you. So imagine if I'm reading 2101. When I'm reading 2101, do I have to read 229 to read 2101? No, which means they are not dependent on each other. And when an activity itself is not dependent, how do you call it? Subsection. Therefore, it moves to becoming clauses. Therefore, it moves to becoming clauses. And this is a standard practice across every law, which means you need to understand this carefully. When I'm reading a law, the first question I will ask is all the items in the section related to each other? If yes, then the answer is subsection. If no, then the answer is clauses directly. Yes, and here is where the problem comes. The moment you skip off subsection, income tax 25 forgot to change the format. They kept the format intact. The only problem which they made is they skipped off subsection. Matlab now, where their subsection was a number, now clause is a number. Where their subclause was where clause was an alphabet, now subclause is an alphabet. Everything starts skipping one place. Yes, which means in a generic terms, you should read the right side. 2 is an exception. 2 is an exception, and this will, by the way, work out in many sections. I don't know if you remember a little bit of your CA Inter people, but we had a chapter called capital gains, and in that capital gains we had a section called 47. Anyone knows? Anyone who remembers section 47? Very good. Transactions which are not regarded as transfer. Matlab basically those items which are exempt from tax. Those items which are exempt from tax. My question is very simple. You are reading 47.1, and 47.1 says when a HUF gets partitioned, you will not be taxable. 47.2 comes and says if you give a gift, it is not taxable. Tell me, are they related to each other? If they are not related to each other, should I read it as clause or clause or subsection? Should read it as clause. Today in income tax 2025, that becomes section 70. So in section 70 also what happens? It writes 70A, 70B, 70C, which means it is section 70 clause A, 70 clause B, 70 clause C. That is what the understanding is. Is the understanding making sense? Any doubts on this part? Yes, this is the first step for you to understand how to read a law, people, because what will happen is tomorrow suddenly what will happen, you are reading section 229, which is the definition of income. You go to PGBP chapter, and PGBP chapter will come and say in the charging section 26, it will come and say income referred to in clause 15 of 229. When they start using the word, sorry, not subclause M of 229, when they write subclause M of 229, you will wonder, no, subclause M 229 becomes subsection. Up, where is the clause here? Correct? At that stage, you should realize income tax is basically trying to talk about 229 as a section 2, clause 29. Therefore, M is called subclause. M is not called clause there, M is called subclause. So don't get confused to that. That is how the reading of the law will be. Any doubts on this part? Are we clear? Yes, Arjun. Hitman.
Yes. So earlier when you were explaining the subsections and then the proviso and then the explanation, so
yep.
You said that a proviso we're specifically carving out a scenario where it's an exception to the main section.
Correct.
So that will take precedence over the subsection.
Yes.
And I didn't understand exactly what you mentioned for explanation.
So,
but in any case, explanation won't be contradicting the subsection anyways, right? So we don't have to, I mean, why are we specifically discussing that as a scenario? It's only complementing the section. Right?
A very valid question. Let me clarify it this way, Arjun, to you. The question which Arjun has basically come and asked is, you understood that the proviso is an exception to the main section. But as an explanation is only going to give you definitions, correct? Now, I'll give you a very classic example. When we read section 92(2)(m), which is the definition of gift, they'll come and say any gift received by a person is fully taxable if it exceeds 50,000. But then you have some exceptions. And exceptions come and say, if you give a gift to a relative, it is not taxable. The problem is very simple. You and I don't know what is relative. Apo relative has to be defined. Relative has to be defined, and the definition will happen in explanation only. Yes, which means the question is very simple. Unless you know that relative is exempted, you will never go and refer the word relative. And therefore, by logic, line 1 will come and say taxable. Proviso will say relative is not taxable. Explanation will clarify what is a relative. Up by logic, proviso overrides the main section, and then after it overrides the main section, I wanted a definition of relative which I referred in explanation. Now, unless I know that I have to refer relative, I will never refer the explanation itself, which means explanation is always a subpart. Is always a subpart. You don't have to read it standalone. It has to always be read in conjunction. That is what the understanding will be. Any doubts? Yes. Explanation number 2. You might have read it in section 6, which is your residential status. Section 6 is residential status, where in some point of time residential status will come and say you have something called ROR, RNOR, NR, and then you have something called deemed resident. You have something called deemed resident, which comes and says if you have a total income more than 15 lakhs and you're not liable to tax in any other country, then you'll become a deemed resident of India. I have deemed you here. When I say deemed, matlab what? I'm expanding your scope. I am expanding your scope. These kind of things can happen through explanations, which means I'm telling you a person can now also become a resident based on his total income and not being liable anywhere else. Matlab now I'm expanding the scope, and I can only expand the scope when you are not a resident already. Which means under subsection 1 I told you are not a resident, subsection 2 I told you are not a resident, which is where explanation will come and say when you were not a resident, now you can become a resident. Apo, can you read explanation on a separate level? No, you have to read it along with main section only. So the order of priority becomes proviso, section, explanation. Any doubts on this? Clear on this, Arjun?
Yeah, got it, sir.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, this is how the pattern moves to you. Any doubts on this? So what have we learned, people? Now we have read how to read a law. We have started with section, subsection, clause, subclause, item, sub-item. If you want some exceptions in the section, we introduce provisos. If you want to clarify something, we call it explanation. That is how the understanding goes back to you. Any doubts on the understandings? Yes. Now, if you have created a provision properly, let's talk about how an act itself looks like. Yes, people, you and I are going to create a Valentine's Day Act, where we have told in subsection 20, in section 23, what is to be taxed. But to tax something, I should have powers first. Who will give me these powers? Constitution of India. So the first thing I will do is I will go to Constitution and come and say, dear Constitution, I would like to tax Valentine's Day gifts. At which stage Constitution will come and ask me a question. My dear child, do you want to do it only in Chennai? Do you want to do it in Tamil Nadu? Or do you want to do it all over India? I have to make that choice. What is your choice? All India. Saddest people. Yes. So you want to do it all over India, which means you will form part of union list. You will form part of union list. Yes. So you and I have agreed together. We are going to be forming part of union list. At which stage, what will happen? You and I will now prepare a draft document, which is called a which is called a bill. This draft document will then be sent across to Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha will approve it, send it to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha will approve it, send it to President. President will give an, very good. I want to hear this word carefully. President will give a, tell me what is the difference between Lok Sabha to Rajya Sabha to President? Assent. What does an assent mean? Giving? Meaning? Can you reject? People, I have a very simple question. Today, Lok Sabha mein bill is passed. Bill is dropped. When the bill is dropped, Lok Sabha has powers to either approve it and send it to Rajya Sabha, or reject the bill and say not valid itself, or suggest changes. Very good. I went and sent it to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha can do what and all? Can they accept? If they accept, it goes to President. They can reject it off. They said, I don't like it, I will reject it off. Rajya Sabha will not make any changes. Rajya Sabha will send it back to Lok Sabha. They will send it back to Lok Sabha, come and say, I have some modifications, please make that modifications. Very well valid. Which means if you notice, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha both have the power to approve and reject. I am now sending it to Draupadi Murmu, my president, for assent. Can you tell me the difference between an assent and an approval? Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha have the powers to approve. President has the powers to assent. Tell me the difference. Are they the same words, by the way? What's the difference? Yes, Arjun.
Yeah. I think if my knowledge is correct, the president can suggest changes, and once they send, so if the either of the lower house or the upper house sends the bill back, then even if they don't include the changes, the president still has to assent it. Has to approve it the second time. Is my understanding.
Very good. People think about this logically. The difference between an approval and an assent is very simple. A person who has the powers to approve also has the powers to reject. A person who has the powers to assent has no powers to reject, which means like he rightly mentioned, like KP rightly mentioned, a president has a choice. She can look into the document, she can say, I am happy with it, I can approve it, or assent it as you call it. Yes, I am not happy with the document, she can max to max come and say, make changes. She can send it back and she can make some changes, maximum 2 times. Maximum 2 times, adukku mele you cannot make any changes. But the one power which Draupadi Murmu does not have is to reject, which means if she does not like the bill, she has no choice but to accept it. She has no choice but to accept it. Now think people, imagine if you and I become the president tomorrow and a document has been sent before me. I am not happy with the document at all. I am not happy with the document. Matlab, I don't want to give my assent. There is nothing to change because I don't like the document itself. What do you think I can do? Quit. Easy way out. Easy way out. People, the best thing I can do is, unless I sign, it will not become a law. What will I do? Don't sign. Yes or no? Yes or no? So which means, like every government office, I will say lunchtime. We'll see tomorrow. And we'll leave it off. Yes or no? Yes. But imagine people, if Draupadi Murmu starts talking like SBI Bank. You think he can run India? India basically comes and says, my dear president in India has only a time until 14 days. Draupadi Murmu has been given 14 days ka time limit. Within 14 days, Draupadi Murmu has to give her assent. If Draupadi Murmu does not give her assent on the 14th day, on the 15th day, deemed approved. It is deemed approved. Matlab 15th day, they will come and say, yes, Draupadi Murmu said silent amounts to acceptance. Silent amounts to acceptance. They will pass the law. They will pass the law. Matlab in all practical sense, Draupadi Murmu sitting there is doing nothing. She's sitting there and doing nothing. Government is run by Modi Sarkar only. Modi Sarkar is running everything. My question is very simple. People, if you are that dummy of a body, why the hell do you need that position? Why did you even have to go to president to get a sign when anyway if she doesn't sign also it becomes a law, right? What is the point of having her then? Very good. People, if you know this logically, presidents are called the first citizen of India. Why is that important? How does that make a difference? Very simple question. People, imagine tomorrow you want to get married. Yes, you have not confirmed with your family. Love marriage this is. You go to your parents and you come and say, Papa, Mummy. Very good. Very good. Catch here? Very good. People, you never went to your parents and came and said, I have a girl. I want your approval on it. What did you say? She is the love of my life. Bless it and go. Simple. Which means at some stage you went to your parents and you're like, see, I love this girl only. I'm not here for your approval. I'm not here for your permission. I'm here only for the blessing of it. This is Indian customs. Indian customs are basically that we should always seek the blessings of our elders. And India ki elder is Draupadi Murmu because she is the first citizen of India, which means assumed that she is the eldest person of the house. Which means we're technically going to Draupadi Murmu and coming and saying, Shubh kaam karne se pehle kuch meetha ho jaye. So I'm giving the document to her and coming and saying, I'm making something new. Kindly don't approve. Kindly bless it. Kindly bless it. Please bless it. Unnala acha okay. If you're not ready to bless it, I will assume it is okay because I am not going to change for you. She is my love. She is already confirmed from my side. Yes, you are not going to live with her. I am going to live with her. I am ready to accept her as she is. It doesn't matter for you. Yes, so I will take her forward. That is what the responsibility is, which means Draupadi Murmu has only been given the powers as an elder of the house. She is the elder of the house. We go and ask for her blessing. That's the maximum request we are going to make to her. Beyond that, she has no authority otherwise. Yes, which means Draupadi Murmu now has a very simple obligation. If she signs it today, it becomes a law today itself. If she does not sign it, it will become a law after 15 days. Matlab 2 weeks ka gap aa jayega. Max to max, there will be a 2 weeks gap. Other than that, it's not going to affect you in any ways. Yes or no? Yes. Now, people, you may think, Rahul, 2 weeks gap can cause a lot of problem in India. Logically speaking, it doesn't. It doesn't cause a problem itself because when you read a law, you will understand. People, whenever we start to create an act, we always have to create a certain template. An act always starts with heading. An act always starts with a big heading. Heading is called Income Tax Act 2025. And then you start writing some things. What is the first and the most important thing you need to write? Very good. It's called subsection 1. Any act will always start with subsection 1. Heading is called short title. Very good. It's called short title, extent and commencement, which means this 3 things have to be clarified here. Section 1 may we are going to write short title, extent and commencement. Subsection 1 will talk about same 3 things. What will it say? This act will hereby be called as Income Tax Act 2025. Very good. Subsection 2 will say this act applies to the whole of, amazing. This act will apply to the whole of India, and this will change based on which list are you sitting in. If you are in the union list, you will say whole of India. If you are sitting in the state, you will say whole of respective state. Respective state. If you are in the union list, what will you write? If you are in a union list, you can't create one act, you have to create two acts. Hey, GST, how many acts do you have? Do you have only one act? You have CGST separately, SGST separately. Apo CGST will say, hey, CGST will say whole of India, SGST will say respective state. Union list cannot have a common act, you will have to create multiple acts for it. Yes or no? Yes. Then comes subsection 3. This will say this act will come into force from 1st April 2026, which means logically, people, even if Draupadi sleeps over it and she approves it only in August 26, does it matter? Because commencement has come from 1st April itself. Matlab it will get commenced retrospectively now. Yes, which is why logically what happens, people, you know that when it is election years, you technically don't have one finance act, you have two finance acts. Do you know this? Do you know this? When was the last elections? 20? Very good. If you remember 2024 and if you have read it properly, 2024 we had two finance acts. One was called Finance Act 24. One was called Finance Number 2 Act 24. Can someone tell me why? Very good. People understand this logically. Elections happen in April, May. Elections happen in April, May. Budget is on 1st February. It may very well be possible that the person who's running the budget may not be the person who's in power after elections. Valid, not valid? Yes. Apo it may happen that on 1st February, Nirmala ma'am presented a budget. And on May, suddenly they decided, you know what, BJP is not working out anymore. Let's bring Cockroach Janata Party. Let's bring Cockroach Janata Party. People, at that stage, what will happen? Cockroach Janata Party will unfortunately get stuck for one full year. Because they will be in powers, but they cannot make any law. The reason is because they passed the budget in Feb itself. Which is why it was very clearly decided in India saying, no, we will not do that. If the power is going to change, the new authority should be given an additional power to make laws. And therefore, in February, only one thing which gets passed is interim budget. Matlab, they will only pass a budget which will impact the next couple of months. Once they get an opportunity and they come back to powers, they have to again pass a budget in July, which will get approved in the winter session, somewhere around August month. This is called the final budget. In an election year, you'll always see two budgets happening. Now, my question is very simple. In the month of July, when you pass the second budget, which got approved in August, applicable from 1st April itself. It will get applied from 1st April itself. Yes or no? Yes. Which means technically that budget is becoming retrospective. Apo here, if Murmur sleeps over it also, it doesn't matter. Because I will say it doesn't matter. Bill has already been confirmed from 1st April. Apo it is applicable from 1st April. You sign, don't sign, I don't. Simple. Yes or no? Yes or no? That's how a draft works, people. So let's look at this carefully. I have now started creating an act. Section 1 talks about short title, extend. Very good. Next in the draft. Section 2 comes into picture, where section 2 will now start talking about definitions. Any act will start by creating what is called as definitions. That's a mandate to be done. That's a mandate to be done. Now, there are certain rules to be followed in definitions, people. One, all definitions have to be in alphabetical orders. You cannot give random definitions in random places. It's a requirement. You should have it in alphabetical orders because no definitions are linked to each other. And therefore, when a person is reading it, he should know where to search quickly. It's not easy like in past days, people. Past days and all, you didn't have control F, search kar liya, ho gaya. You had to literally search it out. And therefore, they made it very clear. We'll give it an alphabetical order. At least you look at it, you know where to find things. If you know the word, you can automatically find it out easily. Yes, that was one rule when it came to definitions. But the major rule came in definitions is how to define something. How to define something. As an example, people, when I'm using the word relative, now I want to define the word relative. I have a very simple question. How much do you want to define the relative is the question. How much do you want to define the relative is the question. A simple example. Tell me a definition of relative as per your understanding. People always first. Hey, chi. You want to go home, be careful. Rule of life, people, unless you're married, parents. After you're married, it's always spouse first. Yes. So relatives always start with spouse. Next. Children, who's yours or spouse? Okay, fine. No, I'm clarifying. Okay. Spouse, children, whose parents? Both parents or your parents? Both parents. Okay, both parents. Siblings. Whose siblings? Both side siblings. Oh, bapre. Whose grandparents? Both grandparents. This is getting lengthy. So, this is me. Me ka spouse. Me. Me ke parents. Mom and dad. So, ma and pa. This is pa IL. Ma IL. Obviously. Come on, hey, come on, people. Next. Siblings. Timeline is important, Ray. Pehle brothers will come, pehle your kids will come. Your dad would have taken first efforts, don't worry. Brosis. Next. Second wife. People Sali, Adi Garwali types. Half wife. This is called idiot. Who likes the brother? Sala only he is. Yes, next. Kids. Mistake. Planned. Grandchildren. Before marriage, after marriage? Son, acha. Love. They have a kid. Okay. Step up. Dede. We'll go up. Let's say anyone's grandparents. Good enough? Anything else? Sure, sure. Yes, now my question is very simple. I have a very simple question. You have defined the term of relatives for me. My question is, are you comfortable having only these many people, or you may want to include some more? That's a choice you're going to make. I'm not going to ask you. I'm asking a very genuine question. Are you comfortable with these many people? You want to include some more? You're comfortable with these many? Yes. The reason I'm asking this is very casual. People look, I have a bro, which means now technically you have confirmed brother is my relative, but brother's wife is not my relative. Is brother wife your relative now? No. Matlab you are confirming that to me. Are you okay with this? Sure? Sure? Okay. Which means you are comfortable with sister, you're not comfortable with Jiju. Jiju is not your relative for some reason. This is your confirmation. I'm not confirming that to you. Are you comfortable with this? Yes. If you're confirming this to me, which means you have now given me a restricted definition. You've come and told me, as per me, relative matlab this much only. I don't want to go beyond this. I don't want to go beyond this. At which stage, laws come and say, use the word means. When you use the word means, it confirms to you that you are telling relative matlab, this is the list. Please don't go beyond this. If you go beyond this, you are violating the law. You are violating the law. Option 2, I may come and say, see, understand, when a transaction happens at home, imagine if my brother and sister are coming to my house. Imagine if a brother and sister are coming to my house, what will happen? They will have, eat food, go home. When they're going home, generally, policy of India, cash lifafa. Yes. Now tell me people, if my brother gives the lifafa to me, you will say exempt because he's my relative. But when the brother comes and says, no, I don't do these kind of dealings. I only talk in black money. My wife takes care of all these chota dealings. So wife is now giving the cash in your hand. Taxable exempt. As per your definition, it is taxable. Because you told I will only cover brother, you will not cover his wife. Up understand people, two members came together. But if brother would have given it, it is exempt. Brother's wife giving it becomes taxable. Makes sense? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Up at some point of time, you realized your relative definition is not working out well. You may want to include a little more people. Ayana. Yes. Apu, do you want to keep it exhaustive or do you want to keep it inclusive? At that stage, definition becomes includes. Very good. At that stage, the definition becomes includes. Matlab, the moment you see the definition word includes, it means you are telling I'm giving you a list. If there is someone else relatable to this list, they are also covered enough. They are also covered enough. Do you know the third type of definition? Very good. It's called excludes. It's called excludes. Income tax is basically coming and saying negative right now. Matlab, income tax will give you a list and he will say this list should not be taken. Everyone else is covered. Everyone else is covered, and that's where the definition is. When you read a definition, this is the most important part to start with. Unless you know whether you are keeping an exhaustive scope or an inclusive scope, you cannot read a definition properly itself. Hayana. Hayana. Yes. Now, my question is very simple. Forget this. This you would have learned in inter or should have learned in inter. I want to ask you a CA final question. People, I am going to start defining something in section 2. At that stage, you have a clarity. Imagine I forgot to define a word in section 2. What do you do? You will go and refer the respective section if you have a definition there. If you have a definition there. Now I have a very simple question. People, Rahul has defined relative under section 2 also. And Rahul has defined relative under section 92 also. Tell me which relative definition is having higher priority. Very good. Why? Because exactly, it's called specific over general. When that definition was given for 92, that is exclusive for 92. I am not going to use generic definitions, which means the order of priorities. If I have a specific definition in 92, follow that. If I don't have a definition in 92, I will go to section 2. I don't have section 2 also. I forgot to define something in section 2 also. Amazing. See inter syllabus, you will move on to General Clauses Act. You will go and refer General Clauses Act to find a definition. As an example, if you remember, in General Clauses Act, you would have read he refers to she also. And therefore, in the whole Income Tax Act, along with every other act in India, we never use the word she anywhere. We only use the word he, because we know even if we write the word he, general clauses will take care of it. Correct? People, imagine general clauses also did not define. Where do you go? Dictionary, Oxford. Normal meaning? Whatever makes sense in that sense. In that sentence. Case laws. Very good. The next thing to do, people, if you don't have anything in General Clauses Act, is to approach courts. You will have to go and approach a court and ask a judge, sir, this is the word, I have no meaning on it. Yes. At which stage court will now start defining words. Now question is very simple. You are the judge of the court. Where will you go and refer? You will refer a dictionary, but not Oxford. Please don't refer Oxford. We have specific law dictionaries. There is something called Black-Scholes. Yes, there is something called Black-Scholes dictionaries and all. These are law dictionaries. You have to refer the word there. But people, life has become crazy. Gen Z generation में bigger problem. Your keywords are not there in Black-Scholes also. Tell me what to do. Huh? Google it. Huh? You want to Google? Okay. People, I'll give you a very classic example of my office. Yes, there was a day in my office where basically what was happened is, I am a manager, global tax manager. There was a team working under me. Yes, income tax department had sent me a notice. And so what I had done is I had taken this notice and like every manager, given it off to my junior. I gave it off to my junior. I was like, go finish it off. Go finish it off. 2 days later, what happened is I got a mail back. And like every Gen Z idiot, that guy wrote a mail. That mail mein he read the attachment. And attachment ke upar heading mein subject only has FYR. For your, very good. FYR means for your reference. Rahul did what? Rahul understood for your reference. Reference matlab, I am assuming he filed it off. He has only sent it to me for my record purposes. Meaning to clarify, boss, I have done my work. What did I do? Ignore the mail, move forward. Classic manager model. Yes, 1 month later, suddenly I get a notice from department, 4 crores penalty. I open the notice, I'm like, what the hell happened? Pasta, that guy never submitted anything itself. Due date got passed, they sent a notice for penalty of 4 crores. I immediately called the guy and I was like, what on earth did you do? Why am I receiving this notice? What is wrong? He's like, sir, very simple, we didn't file. I'm like, day, why you didn't file? He's like, sir, you remember that day I sent a mail to you, FIR, for your review. I thought you will review and send it back to me with corrections. You forgot. I forgot. This is your mistake. At the end of the day, filing responsibility is with manager. I am not responsible for anything. 4 crores penalty, pay from your pocket. Tell me people, 4 crores ka penalty hai. 4 crores ka penalty hai. I have to go to court and justify saying, sir, it's a genuine mistake. Because obviously people, data was ready. We forgot to file. Do you think I'll pay penalty for it? No. So I'm sitting in Supreme Court right now and I'm like, sir, the mistake is very genuine. I received a mail. Mail said FIR. Idiot thought for your review. I thought for your reference. And Supreme Court is now trying to understand whether this is a genuine mistake or a misfeasance, fraud. Which means now Supreme Court has been given a responsibility to define FIR. Is it there in that? Section 2, general clauses, some Black Scholes dictionary. Where are you going and checking? You try Google. Google will say FIR is both. This is a CA final question. Come on. Where do you go and check? He has to judge by what? He's also some 60-year-old guy, pass. He doesn't understand Gen Z language. General? Very good. That's the right answer. Yes. At some stage when something cannot be defined, we start looking at Indian customary practices. Which means I will do a very simple thing. When I told FIR, what did you people think? Is there anyone who thought for your review? No. Which means customary practice is that everyone thinks FIR matlab for your reference. At which stage I will be like, sir, see, FIR was for your reference. I was understanding it to be a filed document. Which means I am a genuine person. I am not the person at mistake. You want to put someone in jail? Catch that guy. You catch the Gen Z guy, I am not responsible for it. Which means I am safe to that extent. Yes or no? This is how customary practices work, people. So therefore, you have to define things very carefully. Yes, because a misfeasance from a definition perspective can start causing you problems. And therefore, law is drafted very carefully to make sure that it covers everything as much as possible. It's a very funny thing, but I'll clarify to you. Income tax even covers the definition of India. Do you know that? Section 201, Section 101, I think, is India's definition. Now, you may think, Rahul, India is obviously India only. How the hell do you have to define India? But income tax was that clear to even define India also. Because income tax wanted no risk at any point of time. Yes, because it can be a very simple story. I tell it my C inter level people. A story is like this. The story is like this, where Rahul is sitting in Chennai. After this class gets over, Rahul goes to the ground. And Rahul decides that, you know what, he's going back to office. Suddenly, when he's sitting on the ground, he sees that there is a big lottery ticket standing. Rahul takes this lottery ticket and goes home. He realizes that the lottery has hit. Rahul is going to receive 4 crores. The moment Rahul was going to receive 4 crores, income tax department said TDS, deduct 30%. I was like, sir, why? Why did you deduct 30%? Who gave you the authority? Who gave you the authority? I found the ticket on the road. Is this road your father's? Baap ka road hai tera. Yes. So a very simple question I asked is, how does income tax department tax me on this? The reason is because I am asking, this lottery ticket was found on the road. Is road part of India? Yes, sir. Okay. People, Rahul has received 4 crores in his hand. Rahul decided Chennai is very hot. Let's leave town. Let's leave town. And obviously, I'm not going to Mumbai and all. I want my own place. So what Rahul decided? Rahul will catch a boat. Rahul will catch a boat and find an island. Yes, so Rahul traveled from Chennai, went to the shores and tried to find an island. When he was trying to find an island, suddenly what happened? Classic Titanic movie. Boat sank. Yes, the boat sank. Rahul is suddenly dripping on the water, and one day he wakes up, he finds that he is in the middle of an island, barren island, nothing is there. Nothing is there. Rahul is struggling, thirsty, everything is happening in life. Rahul is walking on the island. Suddenly he sees below a tree there is a treasure chest. He opens the treasure chest, there is gold. Big gold is there. Yes, Rahul is dripping water from his mouth. Ivlo periya gold. The moment Rahul was going to take this gold, and classic thing we'll do, no, we'll take this gold, put our hand, we'll throw like this. The moment I was throwing my gold like this, suddenly one person behind the back is having a net. He's catching like this. Person is income tax department. He comes and he starts catching all the gold. He's like, sir, why are you throwing it? 30 is mine. Don't throw my gold and all. I'm like, hey, idiot. I am in the middle of an island. How the hell is this India? Tell me India, not India. Very good. At this stage, income tax defined India to mean including 12 nautical miles. 12 nautical miles with a coverage of 200 nautical miles for exclusive economic zone. Ayana. Yes, people at this stage, I was like, you know what, this guy is following me everywhere. Apo, it is not safe to live on the land. Now Rahul has so much money. So what Rahul did? Rahul bought a submarine. Rahul bought a submarine, went underwater. Yes, and Rahul has now decided with this much money, I'm going to create my own Atlantis. Underwater sea. Yes, so Rahul has now created an Atlantis for himself. Rahul is sitting inside water, enjoying his life. Yes, at some stage when I was in the middle of Atlantis, I saw there was a sunken ship. Luck of Rahul, people. Yes, sunken ship. I go inside the sunken ship. I am going and searching everything. I see there are skulls and bones. Pirate ship. Yes, which means I'm pretty sure loot is there. I'm pretty sure loot is there. I go and I open. I found one big treasure chest. Jewelry, diamonds, rubies, everything is there. Yes, the moment I see this, I am now taking this whole thing and moving back to my Atlantis. The moment I was moving back to my Atlantis, one person from the back has a second submarine. He comes and stands next to me. He's like, wait to open the door, 30 is mine. And I'm like, hey, India I understood, island I understood, underwater and all, where is India? People underwater. India, not India. Very good. Up to 12 nautical miles. India also defines seabed and subsoils. Matlab underwater is also India. Yes. At this stage, people realize Rahul has received lottery ticket. Rahul has got a treasure chest. Rahul has got pirate loots. Rahul has become extremely famous all over the world. And when you make friends, you also make enemies. Yes. Some people, terrorists and all, got to know that Rahul has been rich. So what happened? They brought a big ship. They came to my Atlantis and they abducted me. Kidnappers. Yes. So I've been kidnapped and taken back to Visakhapatnam. In Visakhapatnam, what is happening is, Visakhapatnam, obviously people, terrorists will not live in the houses. They will live inside caves. Yes. So what they've done is they've dug an underground area. Underground area mein Rahul has been logged. Tony Stark model. Iron Man scene. Yes. So Rahul is underground. Rahul has been logged completely there. Everything is happening there only. Yes. At certain stage, what happened? Rahul realized there is another scientist with him. So we now are scheming to build an Iron Man suit, and we will skip. Yes, we will start blasting everyone and we'll move out of the place. Yes, now we are building an Iron Man suit and everything. We need materials, money. Yes, what happened is, when we were asking for money and they were delivering money to me, technically this is a gift. Technically this is a gift. The moment I was receiving gift from a non-relative, income tax department got a wind of it. They got a sound wave came and said Rahul is receiving a gift. Yes, they immediately ran to Visakhapatnam, found the underground cave, brought police officers, came down to the underground and came and told Rahul is receiving money. Give tax. Give tax. I'm like, see, I was okay as long as you told India. I was okay as long as it was ground, island, underwater also. I am underground right now. Land, I understand. Underground kaise India? Yes or no? Because if you keep digging deeper, what will happen? You will go from India to the next part of other countryside. Matlab technically that other side is also India or what? Yes or no? People, if you look at it logically, I don't know what is the opposite side, but if this part of it is India, then opposite side mein there is another country. No. If you tell me underground is covered, then everything is covered. Tell me, is it India? Limit what? Underground is India, is it? People, we define seabed and subsoil. Subsoil matlab underground only, covered already. Yes, at this stage, people, Rahul has already built the Iron Man suit. Rahul is ready to move back. Yes, Rahul is like, I am not living in India anymore for sure. I want to move back to my Atlantis. At this stage, I am not going to take a ship for sure, because phat rahi hai na, already once sank, may not be lucky next time. So this time I decided personal jet. Yes, Rahul has booked a personal jet, and personal jet is going to take me back to my island. So Rahul is in India, taken a personal jet, is moving back to Atlantis. In the middle of the air, Rahul is like, you know what, I'm feeling thirsty. So Rahul goes to the air hostess. And he's like, thoda small. Yes, thoda small I want. Yes, the air hostess comes to me, gives me the small. I'm also very nice, rich person. What did I do? Very good. Yes, he's already lived the life. Yes, I gave her a tip. The moment I gave her a tip, this is her income. The moment I was handing over the tip, I'm seeing outside the window, there is a person in parachute there. The person is in parachute, he's knocking on the window. He's like, boss, open the window. I'm like, go die from there itself. Not allowing you inside. Yes, but somehow he came inside and he was like, sir, income tax department, this time you are safe. Air hostess is taxable. And I, as a normal, nice human being, came and said, don't tax that woman. How are you going to tax that woman? That is not true. You're not supposed to tax her because she is not in India. We are in the air. Tell me, people. Is it India? Yes, sir. How? Income tax at some point of time also included in the definition airspace above. They also included airspace above. So therefore the definition came to a point where it said land mass of India up to 12 nautical miles and 200 nautical miles, any seabed, subsoil and all the airspace above is part of India. Now you may think this sounds stupid, but if you look it from a story perspective, imagine so many differences could have happened. If they would have missed out even one definition, Rahul could have saved so many taxes. Yes, so defining India itself became important. Imagine to that extent. Yes, that is where the problem starts in any act, and therefore definitions are extremely critical. Any doubts on this? Are we clear? Yes, perfect. So you have started creating an act with me. We did section 1, which is short title, extent. Subsection, section 2 is definitions. Section 2 is definition. Section 3 goes with any idea? Any idea? Do you remember section 3 of Companies Act? No? No? Okay. People, what are you doing? You're creating an act. The first thing what you have done is actually you have come and told the name. To whom does it apply and where does it apply? What is the next question someone will ask? What the hell is this? The main question someone will ask is, you have created an act. What the hell is this act for? What are you trying to do here? Which means I need to first clarify intention. And therefore section 3 in most of the acts, excluding Income Tax Act, in most of the acts is called the charging section. What section? Charging section basically comes and talks about what is this act going to talk about. Like for example, in income tax, it is section 4. Section 4 is the charging section which comes and says any person earning an income will have to pay income tax. And section 3 in Companies Act will come and say any person registering under Companies Act as a company will be obliged to follow company laws. Yes, FEMA will come and say in section 3 that you should not enter into any transaction outside India without the approval of RBI. Without the approval of RBI. Yes, that is a charging section, which means the whole act itself relies on charging section. If the charging section does not provide for something, will you follow it? Anything beyond the charging section becomes use a better word. Better word. Very good. It's called ultra vires. Yes, anything beyond section 3 will become ultra vires. You cannot take it into scope itself to that extent. Yes, that is what section 3 talks about. And then comes all your section 4s and forwards where you start talking about things. Yes, there we start using these kind of things where we use section, subsection, clause, subclause, items, sub-items. That is where the definition ends. Yes, finally, to complete an act, to make it complete, the first and the most important thing is an act only has made the law. You need a person to administer the law. You need a person to administer the law. Income tax will give powers to CBDT to become valid. Apo income tax has to make a law for that also. In the past, it was 298. In the old act, it was section 298, which will come and say, I am hereby declaring CBDT to be my administrative body with the powers to create rules, circulars, notifications. Very good. Yes, that power also comes from the act only, which means a CBDT cannot be established without an act to start with. That is how an act gets complete in its whole aspect, people. That is how you read an act. That's how you understand the whole thing. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. So the completion of the whole thing starts at this level. You start with section 1, which gives the short title, extent, commencement. Section 2 gives you definitions, three kinds of definitions: exhaustive, inclusive, exclusive. Then you have charging section. Then you have other laws coming into picture. In other laws, you have to make sure it starts with section, subsection, clause, subclause, items, sub-items, except in scenarios where there is no dependency. If there is no dependency, I will skip subsection and move forward. At certain stage, if you want to give powers in the law, the powers of the law will be given rules. You will have to create a rule for it, for which you have to give a power to a board to create rules also. And that's how the whole formation of an act comes by to you. Is there any doubts on this? Yes. Now, what is the changes which has happened in Income Tax 25 is only two. One, Income Tax rule, beta, provisos are no more there. Call it subsection itself. And start using the word irrespective of anything contained in the subsection 1. Second, we don't have any more explanations. We will directly write subsection where we will say, for the purpose of this section, the definition is like this. Any other doubts? Are we clear? Yes. Two more English jargons that you might have heard. I'm just clarifying it to you. One jargon which you might have heard is something called notwithstanding anything contained. Heard about this? Yes. Notwithstanding anything contained is like proviso. It's the same thing as proviso with only one subtle difference. Proviso was handling only a specific subsection. Notwithstanding is generally used for a complete section itself, complete chapter itself, certain set of sections, or the whole act itself. So when you started comprising of many things, that time we started using the word notwithstanding. Which is technically called non-obstante clause. It's called non-obstante clause. In income tax, we said, boss, anyway, proviso has been deleted to become subsection. And subsection is where you use the word notwithstanding also. Which means now income tax says notwithstanding is also deleted. And we now use the word irrespective of anything contained in so and so. Yes, matlab now technically proviso and non-obstante are the same under new income tax 25. Yes, then there was a second word. Second word was called subject to the provisions of. Have you heard this? You might have heard it in income tax itself, people. Some places like section 37 in the old law. Anyone? What is section 37? That is 35. General deductions. When it is not covered anywhere else, then general deductions I will give you. It started itself with saying subject to the provisions of section 30 to 38. The following conditions if satisfied, I will give you the expense. Tell me, people, what does this relevance? Why do you use subject to? What does subject to do for you? People, as much as notwithstanding becomes superior, subject to becomes inferior. Matlab, you will never read section 37 unless you have read 30 to 38, which means if I give you an order of priority, if you see notwithstanding, that's the superior section. If you don't see anything in the section, that is in the middle. And if you see subject to, that is the inferior section. That's the drafting of a law. Yes, these are all the jargons that you should know when you read a law properly, people. That's when the understanding comes better. Is there any doubts on this? Are we clear? Yes, good. If you have understood this, I think you should be able to read a law very carefully right now. Should be easy enough to that extent now. Yes, I'm just showing you section 92. So you're going to read things carefully. I'm going to give you some words here and there for you to understand carefully. Yes, I am reading 92. A 92 is your. What is 92 called? Section. 92 is called section. I see a 1 here. Very good. This is called subsection. I see 2 here. This is called subsection. From here I see a clause. So this becomes a clause. I am going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. This is subclause. Yes. At some stage I went to M. M said clause. M said clause. 2 became subclause. B became item, one became, this is what I referred and gave you. This is what I referred and gave you. See how it reads. It says where any person receives in any tax year from any person. I am receiving from any person from in any tax year any item which are of the following natures. First thing is called any sum of money without consideration, meaning cash, meaning cash. I have received money cash, the total of which exceeds 50,000, the whole of such sum. What do you understood? Read it in conjunction, where Rahul received from another person any money cash exceeding 50,000. That 50,000, the whole of such sum, matlab everything will become IFOS. Everything will become IFOS. You see how the law reads? Yes. Next one. Any immobile property. This time Rahul is receiving immobile property for a consideration. For a consideration, matlab Rahul paid money for it. Paid money for it. The stamp duty value of the property exceeds such consideration. Here is where Rahul Bhaiya gives a very simple suggestion. When things become too much English, start putting examples. Start putting examples. It becomes easier. Yes. So what is Rahul doing? Rahul is going to receive immobile property for a consideration. Matlab Rahul is going to pay money. The stamp duty value of which exceeds the consideration. Exceeds the consideration. Matlab Rahul had to pay stamp duty value. Example के लिए 10 lakhs. Rahul only paid 9 lakhs. Apo stamp duty value is exceeding the consideration. If this excess amount is more than the higher of the following amounts. Which excess amount? 10 lakh, 9 lakh, 1 lakh. 1 lakh. The excess amount is higher of the following. If it is higher of the following, it will become taxable. Is it higher than 50,000? Taxable. Next, is it higher than 10% of the consideration? People, how much did Rahul pay? 9 lakhs. How much is it? 1 lakh. If you add 9 lakh pe 10%, number is 90,000, which is still less. Matlab Rahul got more. Apo Rahul is more than 50 also. Rahul is more than 90,000 also. Apo Rahul is taxable, and that's what IFOS is. That's what IFOS is. It's actually simple to read a law, people. You just have to read it carefully, nothing else. Are we clear on this? Yes. If you have read all those things properly, from here you will see the provisions of subsection 2M shall not apply to any sum. People, if you notice technically, this is a exception, which nothing other than being a proviso. Matlab in the past I would have called this as provided that the provisions of subsection 2M would have not applied in the following scenarios. Scenario number 1, relative. Scenario number 1, relative. Once again, people, we wrote 92. This is very good. Subsection A becomes clause. Amazing. A becomes a clause. Now I see a problem. I don't know the word of relative. I don't know the word of relative. Come down. It says, see now, for the purpose of subsection 2M2. For the purpose of subsection, see, this is where the confusion starts. Now you have to go back to find M, find 2, and then you have to find the answer. And you have to find the answer. It says date of agreement, date of stamp duty value. That's fine. Look, for the purpose of this section, accessible means this, card game means this, fair market value jewelry. People, do you notice something? It's going in alphabetical order. Matlab, this is technically definitions, which in the past would have been very good. In the past would have been explanations, and this is where the problem starts. People, earlier what I would have done, accessible would have only been related to 92A. So I would have written accessible directly there. Relative I would have written next to 92M itself. But now what I've done, I've compiled everything and written in one single definition model. Matlab, unless you complete the whole section, you will have no clarity on all the words. Income tax 25 has that problem. In income tax 25, you can never read a section in order. You have to complete the whole process in order to get the right answer. Because here when you go down, somewhere you will notice fair market value meaning is given to you, stamp duty value meaning is given to you, property is defined here, relative is defined here. Yes, help me once again. People, I am in subsection 5. This is clause G, correct? Huh? Yes, tell me people, it's a definition. No, I should have not even used subsection 5 then. Very good. This is relatable definitions to 92, and therefore clauses will not apply here. Technically, this is a clause only because we wrote it in 5. So 5 already became the subsection. Upon this directly becomes a clause. Very good. This one is Subclause, this one becomes item, and I did not write any sub items in this. I did not write any sub items in. So which means if I have to read spouse, I will write it as section 92 subsection 5 clause G subclause 1 item number. By the time I finish that in my exam will get over. Yes or no? Yes. And do you think you're going to remember all? Definitely it's not going to happen. But this is what section 92 looks like, people. Is there any doubts on this? Yes. You understood how to read along? Yes. Try this, people. My request is very simple. Going forward, when you have any kind of discussions happening in office and when they ask you to read something, avoid reading any guide materials. Avoid reading guide materials, going to Google and finding out answers. Try once or twice. If you try reading an ACNO, you will have an immense amount of understanding. Yes. The understanding will evolve to that extent, because at least that's what Rahul Bhaiya did. When I was in Deloitte and when articleship experience was given to me, the one request my manager made was very clear. I do not want a single document coming in printout format saying this is what I got in ChatGPT or Google. That was a very clear instruction to me. They were very clear. They were having a Bayer Act in their hand. Back in those days, we used to buy the Bayer Acts. It would be this big. Yes. And my manager was very clear. If you come to me for any question, make sure you bring the Bayer Act with that page number. You bring that page number, come and tell me this point is what you did not understand. That is when I will explain to you. Yes. So Rahul has constantly for 10 years only read the Bayer Act. I've never read anything else. In fact, this whole book which I've prepared for you itself is coming from Bayer Act only, because study material itself is not there. Yes. Reading a Bayer Act gives you an immense amount of understanding, because sometimes when you read a Bayer Act, you start reading different things. You may probably not know it differently, but now you will read it very differently. Yes, that is what the understanding comes back to you, which is what, if you remember, I come and told you, when I read this chapter itself, I referred section 536. If you remember yesterday's discussion we had, do you remember what's 536? Transition provisions. Yes, section 536 came back to you to become transition provisions, and this is where the problem started. If I'm reading the transitional provisions, 535, and here is 536. Yes, a topic which we'll probably cover at the last parts of that syllabus, but 536 is what I'm showing to you. It says Income Tax Act 1961 has been repealed. Repealed matlab deleted. They have deleted it off. At some stage it will come and say irrespective of the repeal of Income Tax Act 1961. Basically, it's a proviso. If not a proviso, at least notwithstanding, either of the two. Now today I don't even know whether it's a proviso or notwithstanding, but it is one of the two. Yes, so irrespective of anything, whatever it is, and subject to subsection 4. Matlab in the same subsection, now I have a notwithstanding also, I have a subject to also. How do I read this now? Should I read 2 first? Should I read 4 first? Think logically. Should I read 2 first or 4 first? I should read 2 first. I should read 2 first. Subject to 4 matlab 4 is inferior. Yes, matlab I have to read, nahin, actually, hey, we have to read 4 first, correct, sorry, I'm sorry. Subject to 4 matlab 2 is inferior. Yes, so matlab 2 is now overriding Income Tax Act, but 4 is overriding 2 itself. Why do you need this confusion? Yes, I could have done it better. What I could have done? 4 is superior. What would I have written with 4? In 4, I could have very easily written irrespective of anything contained in 2. Would have become more simpler. Why did I have to refer that in 2 itself then? I could have gone to 4, and 4 I would have written irrespective of anything contained in 2. The answer is here, simple. Yes, now I don't know what is sitting in 4. Let's check. Without prejudice to subsection 2. Here is where I'm confused. People, do you know what without prejudice means? Without affecting 2. Matlab now 2 is bigger. Hey, correct. You tell me where am I wrong? Which means 2 comes and says 4 is bigger. 4 comes and says, what should I read first? Yes, at this point of time is where the problem started. Problem was when I was reading rules. I don't know where it is. Some payable agreement, some has been allowed as deduction, respect of any proceedings, refund pendings, elections, proceedings, provisions. Can you find the word rules here? See if you're able to find it. Too small, no? Penalty, commencement, declaration, elections, proceedings, refund, sum has been allowed as deduction, repealed act without prejudice, recovery. Subsection? See, it says any agreement entered into, appointment made, approval given, recognition granted, circulars, directions, instructions, notifications, order or rule or any scheme framed under the provisions of the repealed Income Tax Act, matlab 1961, shall, so far as it is not inconsistent with the corresponding provisions of this, not this rules, this act, will be deemed to have been entered into as per the corresponding provisions of this act as well. Matlab, if any rules has been made in 1961, that will apply to 2025 also. But then we also have income tax rules 2026. Now I'm not sure which one is inconsistent. Something is inconsistent because it should be inconsistent to the act, not to the rules. Yes, which means to that extent I can say income tax rules 2026 is also applicable and 1962 is also applicable. You follow whatever you want. Choice is yours. Yes, the choice is given to you and that's where the law comes. I am reading all those things: amount of credit, amount of loss, amount, set off, deductions. Where any reference is made, subsection 4 comes and says that some understanding is there. And see, notice, you know what is this? Footnotes. Footnotes. People, how does an income tax 25 have footnotes? Footnotes are when you change something, no? Income tax 25 just now came. How does it have changes? Of, very good. If you notice, itself will come and say substituted for Act number 4 of 2026, which means these are all amendments of Finance Act 2026. Law came in September, passed in February. These many changes have already come in. And I'm only reading one section right now. Yes, I remember, if I remember this right, there were around 340 amendments or something in Income Tax, Finance Act 26. Around 340 amendments were made in Finance Act 26 because that's what apparently they told. They realized that Income Tax 25 was bad and then they started making modifications in Income Tax 25 itself. Yes. Now people, why am I struggling with Income Tax 25 so much? Why is Income Tax 25 so poorly drafted? Anyone has a guess? When was this decision made? 24. We had 1.5 years in hand. Any reason why you know? Very good. People, for the very first time in India, generally when an act is passed, normally it's a practice to also engage CAs and advocates in it. Yes, Income Tax 25, when it was launched, the biggest achievement they preached, you know what? The biggest achievement they preached is Income Tax 25 was completely made by our CBDT members. We have not used a single professional for it. We made it completely by our CBDT members. Our CBDT members are now so strong and equipment enough that they can handle everything. Because apparently they were only given one responsibility. Yeah. Simplify the English of. Yes, their responsibility was only one, simplify the English. And the one English they thought to simplify is previous year to become tax year. That is the one major English because apparently they didn't understand anything. They are income tax officers. Yes, that is the major issue which happened when it came to Income Tax 2025 because no professionals were discussed on this, no engagements happened that. When Income Tax 25 was launched in September, till then also we were never engaged. It was after September that we started questioning. We were like, sir, this is a problem, that is a problem, this is an error, that is an error. When all that errors were accumulated, Finance Act 26 made so many amendments. Because that was the first time we were discussed about all those things. So which means as a CA, you have enormous powers to even change the law. Yes, it's only about how much people consult you about it. Yes, and that's where the superiority stands. People, you just have to play around with it carefully, nothing else. Yes, but I'm assuming today, at least at this stage, you are a little more comfortable on how to read a law. Any doubts on this part? Clear? Now everything that we have written, can we summarize it off? Yes, chalo, let's summarize it off. Let's write it down carefully and then I can cut you for a break. We've already written a law. Yes, leave a line. Leave a line. The heading is says. The heading is says formation of an act. Leave a line and the heading says formation of an act. Formation of an act. Under that, people try to follow my words. Don't look at the screen. Helps you in listening skills. Yes, formation of an act. Under that, it says every act Every act is formed by using the every act is formed by using the following template. Every act is formed by using the following template. By using the following template. Under that, point number one. Under that, point number one, what do we call? Section. Under that, point number one, section. Point number two, subsection. Point number one is section. Point number two is subsection. Hyphen. Hyphen. People, subsection is generally written as, very good, subsection hyphen, to be expressed in numbers. Point number one is section. Point number two is subsection hyphen, to be expressed in numbers. To be expressed in numbers. Point number three is clause. Point number three is clause hyphen. Sorry, sir. Point number three is clause. Point number three is clause hyphen says. People, how do you write a clause generally? Hyphen, to be expressed in. Hyphen, to be expressed in lower alphabet. Hyphen, to be expressed in lower alphabets. Point number four, subclause. Point number four is subclause. If I remember subclause, we write it in small Roman numerals. Hyphen, to be expressed in small Roman numerals. To be expressed in small Roman numerals. Point number five, how do we write? Item. Point number five is item hyphen says, to be expressed in uppercase alphabets. Point number five is to be expressed in uppercase alphabets, and comes point number six, which is sub-item, to be expressed in uppercase. Very good. To be expressed in uppercase Roman numerals. To be expressed in uppercase Roman numerals. Clear? Yes, leave a line. Leave a line and say note. Leave a line and say note. Leave a line and say note. Where the items are not related to each other. Note says where the items are not related to each other. Where the items are not related to each other. Within bracket example. Within bracket example. Definitions, comma, exemptions. Where the items are not related to each other. Within bracket definitions, comma, exemptions. It's not explanation, people. Exemptions. Close bracket. Subsection is skipped. Subsection is skipped. Subsection is skipped, and we directly use subsection is skipped, and we directly use clause. Very good. Subsection is skipped, and we directly use clause. Clear? Yes. Come down. Can you write down this example? Please write down both the examples and in the same format. Make sure to understand as you keep doing it, it helps. Yes, good. Which points are we done? Point number 6, 7. Point number 7 is called proviso. Point number 7 is called proviso hyphen exception to the provision given. Point number 7 is proviso hyphen exception to the provision given. Exception to the provision given, full stop. Full stop. Please change to red. Please change to red and write overrides the given provision. Overrides the given provision. Overrides the given provision. Back to the normal pen. Back to the normal pen. Full stop and say expressed as. Back to the normal pen. Expressed as. On the bottom, what you're going to do is you're going to split the page into 2. And on the left side, you're going to say other laws. You're going to say other laws. Right side, you're going to say ITA 25. Other laws and ITA 25. People, if I'm in other laws, how do I write a proviso? Provided that next one is provided further. Next one is provided also. Provided also. Yes, if I'm in ITA 25, how am I going to do it? Write it as new subsection. Write it as new subsection starting with. Go for it. Write it as new subsection starting with irrespective of anything. Irrespective of anything. Clear? Yes, come on. Next one. Point number 8 says explanations. Point number 8 says explanations hyphen gives clarification. Gives clarification to the words given in the provision. Gives clarification to the words given in the provision. Full stop. Can also be used for. Can also be used for deeming fiction. Can also be used for deeming fiction. Anyone knows what's a deeming fiction? Something which is not there but is deemed right now. For example, you have section 9. What's section 9? Hey, tax practitioner, section 9 is the most important one. Section 9, people. Section 9 is income which is deemed to accrue or arise in India. Remember? Yes, we have something called income received in India, income deemed to receive in India, income accruing or arising in India, income deemed to accrue or arise in India. That's section 9. Yes, one of the most important sections if you are ever getting into international taxation. You have to remember that section nevertheless. Yes, so that is a deeming fiction. It's not true, but it might become true. That is what a deeming fiction does for you. Yes, full stop, continue. Expressed as. Expressed as. Again, we are going to split the page into 2. Left side says other laws. Right side says ITA 25. People, how do I write an explanation? We write explanation 1 explanation 2. We read explanation 1 and explanation 2. On the right side, what we are saying? Write it as new subsection. Write it as new subsection, starting with. People, you remember how do we write explanations? What do we use? Very good. Starts with for the purpose of. For the purpose of. Done. Point number 9. Point number 9 is non-obstante clause. Point number 9 is non-obstante clause. Hyphen says used to give. Point number 9 says non-obstante clause hyphen used to give an exception to. Used to give an exception to another section. Another section, comma, chapter, comma, act. Used to give an exception to another section, chapter, or act. Which means if I go to another section and I say notwithstanding anything contained in section 5, which means that section becomes superior over 5. If I say notwithstanding anything contained in chapter 3, then it becomes superior than chapter 3. If I say notwithstanding anything contained in the whole act, which means this is the superior most section, and that's how it will work. Yes, that is the point. Next line says, full stop says expressed as. Next line says expressed as. What do we use? We use the word notwithstanding. Anything contained in ... Notwithstanding anything contained in ... Yes, on the right side, what are we using? Irrespective of. Anything contained in. Done. Yes, point number 10. Point number 10 moves to subject to clause. Point number 10 moves to subject to clause. Subject to clause hyphen says conditional to. Subject to clause says conditional to happening of another section. Conditional to happening of another section. Conditional to happening of another section. Full stop. Full stop. This section. Full stop. This section will have a. This section will have an inferiority. This section will have an inferiority over the referred provisions. This section will have an inferiority over the referred provisions. Over the referred provisions. Full stop. Full stop. Expressed as. Full stop. Expressed as. Thankfully, this is the only one thing which has not changed between both the laws, and therefore this is called expressed as subject to the provisions of expressed as subject to the provisions of. Clear? Yes. Point number 11. Point number 11 is called charging section. Point number 11 is called charging section hyphen. People, what does a charging section do? Gives the intention of the law. Yes, charging section hyphen says provides the charging section hyphen says provides the scope of the act. Charging section says provides the scope of the act. Full stop. Full stop. Anything beyond is ultra vires. Anything beyond is ultra vires. Anything beyond is ultra vires. What else we learned? That's no. What else did we learn? Ho gaya, 11 ho gaya. Next. What else did we learn? We learned types of provisions. Explanation, provision. So, one. Very good. Next. Short title, extend commencement. Biggest thing we learned is definitions. Yes. So those are all the things which are pending. Next one is definitions. Point number 12. Point number 12 is definitions. Point number 12 is definitions. Hyphen says can be of three types. Can be of three types. Under that, point number 8, exhaustive. Point number 8, exhaustive. People, does it have a wide scope or a narrow scope? Defined scope. Exhaustive hyphen defined scope. Full stop. Starts with defined scope. Full stop. Starts with means. Starts with means. Yes. Can you tell me one definition from the top of your mind which had a means word? Random definitions you have learned in your life. Companies Act means a company means a. The one definition you have learned is called company means a company which is registered under Companies Act, which means they have clarified it very clear. Only when you register in Companies Act are you a company. Anyone else is not going to be called a company. They'll call it as body corporates. They'll call it as body corporates. So very narrow defined scope for you. Yes. Point number 2. Sorry, point number B. B. Point number B is called inclusive. Point number B is called inclusive hyphen. People, small scope, big scope, broader scope. Inclusive hyphen broader scope. Full stop. Starts with the word includes. Starts with the word includes. Any examples? Very good. Supply includes is a very good definition of section 7 and 9. Anything else? Relative means is used actually. Relatives is not includes, it means. Next. Income itself, people. Section income itself is includes definition. It says income includes. In the past it was 224. So 224 said income includes. Now it is 249. 249 says income includes. Basically income tax is saying beta, this is what I know. Therefore it is taxable. You do some other shit, that is also taxable. As long as you are earning money, I am going to collect tax from you. That is the logic, simple, straightforward. Yes, that is what includes. It's next. Excludes. Excludes hyphen. What are we trying to do? You are removing a particular things. Removing particular items. Exclusive says removes particular items. Starts with excludes. Starts with excludes. I'm not sure if you have seen any excludes definitions. Very good. Yes, you will find excludes generally in salaries definitions. A lot of places, like for example, if you have done it in your inter, you would have a topic called RFA, rent-free accommodation, where salary was not given as an inclusive definition, it was given as an exclusive definition. They used to say salary for the purpose of RFA means gross salary excluding the following items, which means they said everything other than this is coverable. Yes, that is what exclusive was all about. Yes, so generally happens in number terms. When you have monetary value to compute, you use the word exclusive for that. Yes, good. Next line says, a definition can be placed in the following places. A definition can be placed in the following places. Point number A. Respective section. It always starts with the respective section. You should always look for a definition in that section. If it does not stand there, then you go for section. Yes, so point number A says respective section, hyphen says applies only to that section. Point number A says respective section, hyphen says applies only to that section. Point number B, section 2. Point number B is section 2, hyphen says applies only to that act. Point number B says section 2, hyphen says applies only to that act. Point number C, General Clauses Act. Point number C, General Clauses Act. I don't have a memory, people. What is the year? '92. 1892. Go research and come. General Clauses Act, hyphen. 1872 is Contract Act. 62. You think contract came before? Huh? It would have come after Contract Act only, no? Research and come. General Clauses Act, hyphen, applies to all laws of India. Applies to all laws of India. Point number D. Law dictionaries. Point number D is law dictionaries. And comes point number E. General practices. Point number E is general practices. Point number E is general practices. Done. Yes, last thing to close. What is point number 12? 13. Point number 13. Yes, people, what have we completed? We've written types of sections. Then we have written proviso, explanation, notwithstanding, subject to, charging section, definitions, pending items. Very good. Short title, extent and commencement. Short title, extent and commencement. A part of section. Part of section 1. Part of section 1 clarifies the. What are you clarifying? Name. Scope is in charging section. First is name, then is applicable area. Name, applicable area, and point number C, date of commencement. Date of commencement. Yes, last one is last one. What's pending? Powers to appoint a board. Powers to appoint a board. People, why are we creating a board? To grant an administrative body to issue what? Very good. Rules, circulars, notifications, to grant an administrative body powers to issue rules, circulars, notifications. Anything else? What else can a CBDT do, people? That is what rules is. Assessment process next. Very good. Orders. And one more, approvals. You can request for special approvals. Yes, like for example, you're a charitable trust, you want an exemption. You won't get it just like that. You'll have to go and seek for an approval. Or if you want to opt for DTR, you need to file a form, declarations. You'll have to come and say, sir, I'm willing to choose DTR. Default tax regime. You want to choose default tax regime, you want to go alternate tax regime, you need to file forms and approvals. All those things will have to be submitted to them for their check-in purposes. All those things will be done by Board of CBDT. Yes, that is how an act comes into picture, people. That is how you understand the whole process. Any doubts on this? Yes. Now that you have understood a generic level of everything, we are very well done with all the basics of everything. From tomorrow, things are going to become more practical related stuff. Yes, we don't have much to discuss because technically, very indirectly, I've covered off income tax for you also. Yes, we are technically going to do income tax 25 and you know the format right now. We are going to start with section number 1, which is short title, extent and commencement. You know the answer. It is income tax 25 applying to whole of India. Jammu and Kashmir.
Yes.
Why? They have repealed Article 370. They have repealed Article 370. Article 370 has been abolished, which means now every act in India applies to. And therefore, when they prepared 2025, they were mentioned itself. Just to clarify, 1961, was it applicable? Was 1961 applicable to J&K?
Yes.
It was. Yes, 1960 income tax was the only act which was applicable to J&K as well. Companies Act is not applicable to J&K. GST is also not applicable to J&K if my memory serves right. Yes, it was not applied. At least CGST was not applied. That is my understanding, at least to start with. Yes, point is income tax was applicable right from the past itself for J&K as well. Now it doesn't matter. Now everything is applicable to J&K. So they never had to mention it itself. And this act came into force from 1st April 2026, which is why income tax rules is also 2026. Section 2 you already know, which is your definition section. We will read definitions as we progress itself. Yes, in income tax, section 3 is not going to be charging section, because in income tax, section 3 defines what is tax year. What is? In the past it was called previous year. That is now become tax year. So section 3 defines it. Tomorrow's class discussion. Section 4 is where we start our whole act, which is called charging section. Very simple, beautiful, sweet section for you. Charging section simply comes and says income tax will be levied on the not income. Think carefully. On what do you levy income tax, people? Okay. Very good. I heard it somewhere. Someone told me the answer. Very good. It is levied on the total income. Obviously, people, when you compute tax on what? GTI. You compute tax on total income. Yes. So income tax charging section number 4 comes and says income tax will be levied on the total income earned by a person. I didn't want to play with assessee because tomorrow you may not end up being an assessee, but you still will have to pay tax to me. Yes. So it is a total income tax. Income tax is levied on the total income earned by a person in a. Very good. That's the change. In a tax year at the Rates prescribed. Very simple. That is what the charging section is for you. Yes, we are going to write the charging section for today, people, and we'll complete all the discussions in tomorrow's class. Yes, so for your basics of income tax in the next page as a side heading, the charging section for you to note down is section number 4. Section number 4, heading is called charge of income tax. Heading is called the charge of income tax. Under the charge of income tax, it's very simple. It says income tax shall be levied on the total income which is earned by a person income tax shall be levied on the total income which is earned by a person in a tax year at the rates in force and also includes additional income tax. This is what the charging section talks about, people. Very simple, sweet charging section. Nothing great about it, but if you read the charging section properly, chapter 1 is done. Yes, that is all the charging section is all about. Now, let me tell you what I do in my classes. Yes, the logic is very simple. Rahul has already given you the charging section. Your responsibility is simple. You have to read this and you have to come and tell me, Bhaiya, isme se kya kya you want me to explain. Every word you tell me to explain, I will explain. Everything else, I will assume you understood. Yes, and for everything you understood, things are going to be wrong. Every word that you tell me you understood, I'm going to start asking weird questions. Yes, so tell me, people, for tomorrow's class, what and all do you want me to explain to you? Additional income tax. You want me to explain total income? Huh? Okay. Total income you want me to explain? Oh, just because I put it in apostrophe. For okay. Rates in force is basically the tax rates that you already know. Earned. Earned means what you got. Next. No, actually very valid because that's an amendment of current year, so you need to know that. Next. You want me to explain what is income tax? You know what is tax? We just discussed yesterday. You forgot, huh? Very good. If you're forgetting yesterday's things, I am not sure what May 27 and November 27 is going to look like. Anything else? Sure? Itne se ho jayega? Enough if I explain these things. Baki things you will understand yourself. Yes? Okay. Additional income tax, I'll clarify today itself. People, additional income tax basically means those additional income tax which income tax is not levying on your income per se. Taxes which are levied on other things. For example, last year, Variko, you might have learned there was something called buyback tax. Have you heard about it? No, in the past we had something called DDT, dividend distribution tax. Yes, basically taxes which are not on your incomes, but I'm still asking you to pay it for someone. Yes, that is called additional income taxes. Taxes which may not directly relate to your incomes, but may relate to an activity, and I still want you to deduct tax on it. That is called additional income tax. Yes, there's no specific definition for it. As we keep reading the chapters, you will realize there are some additional income taxes that we have to pay. Now, if I'm going through CA final syllabus, there is only one additional income tax that I can think of right now in your syllabus, which is called exit tax. There is something called exit tax which is paid by charitable trust. A charitable trust which stops becoming a charitable trust anymore. Income tax will require that before you become a taxable entity now, for all the past years, you have avoided taxes. Please accumulate everything and pay it to me right now. Please accumulate everything and pay it to me right now. That is called additional income tax because we call it accredited income tax or exit tax as such. Apart from that, buyback tax was there in your syllabus, but it got scrapped. So now there is no more buyback tax in your syllabus because now it has come back to capital gains. That's an amendment of current year, very important amendment. We'll discuss when we go to capital gains. Yes, so other than that, there is no additional income tax per se to discuss, nothing critical. Anything else? You don't know what is person, huh? You might have learned it in so many laws. What is a person? Inter itself, people, come on. Individual, HUF, firm, AOP, BOI, LLP, companies, AJPs. One more. Income tax is special. They have one more. We have individual, HUF, companies, firms, LLPs, AOP, BOIs, AJPs, local authorities. We have local authorities. This is a central law, people. So even state has to pay tax to me. Yes, so state level pay, even local authorities end up paying taxes to me. That's a person's definition, which I'm assuming you understand from inter syllabus itself. I only have 2 questions. Question number 1, is minor an individual?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yes, sir. I have not seen minors paying taxes. हाँ क्लब हो जाता है ना, तो he is not paying tax, no, so why is he a person?
He's a person, but his income is from
Club.
getting club.
Very good. Is dog an individual? Very simple question. Question is, imagine I have a child, I have a dog. I have both. Yes, imagine I have a child, I have a dog. There is a beauty contest going on. The beauty contest is, one beauty contest is child or a beauty contest. And one beauty contest is dog or a beauty contest. I take my child to the child beauty contest. I take my dog to the dog beauty contest. Luckily, both of them earn first place. Because both of them earned first place, contest lende, Rahul has now got 1 lakh rupees for the child beauty contest, 1 lakh rupees from the dog beauty contest. Question. Who has to pay tax on what? Why? I am not earning the income. I did not do any efforts. Maybe other than the whatever. Child की minor है. Minor's income. Why? हाँ, winning. Okay, child I accept. I will club. Our question is child an individual? Okay, dog or income? Our dog is an individual. What is the difference? By the way, why am I paying tax on the dog's income? Because I grew it up. Huh? I own the dog. What if the child becomes 20? Why? I only grew him, no? So dog will always be minor only. Dog is dog is always dependent on the Mari. Weird. Okay. Question number 1 for your homework. Figure it out. Question is dog an individual? Question number 1. Question number 2. I want to become an HUF. What is the minimum requirement?
You
what?
and permanent spouse.
Me and a spouse. हो जाएगा बस है.
You can create an HUF with your spouse.
That's all. Huh? No, मतलब शादी marriage mandatory? Live-in relationship?
No.
Hey, come on, people. No, marriage mandatory. Okay, and wife is mandatory. Kids are not important.
Kids will automatically become a part of.
ऐसे जरूरी नहीं है. अच्छा, will become okay. Kids will. मेरे को लगा तो बोला kids will automatically. So me and my spouse is enough for an HUF. Ma, first you have to create an HUF to have property, no? How do you create an HUF is the question. I should be into you. Hindu. I thought love and all is going to come into picture. I should be Hindu. There is no other undivided families. I thought there is a Jain undivided family also. And I checked, there is Sikh undivided family also. You have Hindu, Sikh and Jain. 3 undivided families are there. Hindu is not a mandate. No. we call it as a generic word as HUF, but Sindhu, Sikh undivided family and Jain undivided family is also a different thing altogether. So basic requirement is get married. What is if you want? Acha, okay. So you're getting married because you want HUF. I am not commenting on anything. I don't like materialistic relationships. Come on. I will be loyal to my wife. It's okay. So marriage is enough. Kids not important. Generational wealth not required. Okay. Figure it out. Yes, for everyone who's still confused, figure it out and come back to me. Question number 3. Who and all are the members of HUF? My spouse. Yes, obviously. My kids. Huh. My parents are there. My parents are part of my HUF. We are part of their HUF. Are they part of my HUF? No, definitely not. Next. हाँ, kids हो गया ना. Rahul is an HUF member. Rahul Oda's spouse is an HUF member. Yes. Rahul Oda's son. Member, huh? Rahul Oda's daughter. Yes, sir. Son Oda's wife. Daughter Oda's husband. No, huh? Son and wife Oda's grandson.
Yes.
Granddaughter. Grandson. No, huh? Granddaughter. No, huh? My brother.
Yes.
Huh? See, even if he was married, he's your brother. Let's not think differently. These kind of relationships are difficult, man. Be careful. Your brother and sister.
Yes.
What is my kiss? Yes or no? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, people, this is one thing called members. There is one other word which is called co-partners. Karta, so I am only there, no. There is another thing called co-partners. Are they the same word? Different? What is the difference?
The co-partners are like below karta, after karta is deceased.
Below karta. Spouse is the co-partner or not?
Can
So how is she below me? I mean,
co-partners are like after karta who can take place of karta.
even spouse can take place.
Yeah. So she can be co-partner.
So, okay, so son's wife,
Can be.
who is member then? Everyone can take place. Everyone can take place, no then?
Member.
You kill everyone, I'll be left. Okay, so which one of them don't have a right? Son's wife don't have a right. Okay. Daughter's husband was not even a member. So member is anyone, but a co-partner is the one who has a right in the property.
Yeah.
Okay, homework for you, figure it out. Yes, so basically 3-4 homeworks I've given people. Homework number 1, I want to know whether dog is an individual. Homework number 2, I want to know how do you create an HUF. I want the process, by the way. Income tax process. Income tax process to create an HUF. And 3, who are members, who are co-partners. What's the differentiation between both? Yes, these are the 3 things which you have learned in inter-syllabus and not just income tax, in any other law also. So you have to figure that part out. That is what has to be discussed. Firms you already know. Companies you know. LLP is part of firms. AOP, BOIs I'm assuming you understand. Group of persons are called Group of persons are called AOP. Group of individuals are called body of individuals. ICAI is AOP, BOI. ICAI is none. ICAI is BOI. It's a body of individuals. We are all the members. I am an official member of ICAI. I am part holder of the ICAI practice. Yes, so I am also a BOI member. That is how BOI works. We don't have AOP there because ICAI still doesn't recognize firms as a member. ICAI only gives you firm registration number, doesn't call you a member. If ICAI starts giving firm membership numbers, then it will become an AOP. Right now it is a BOI. So ICAI, ICSI, ICMAI, all those people are BOIs. Then we have local authority, which you and I both know, municipalities. And finally is AJPs. Have an example in mind? You've always learned AJP. You have never thought about what is an example of AJP. By the way, just to clarify, artificial juridical person basically means a person who's been appointed by court. Juridical, no. Artificial juridical person means a person appointed by courts. Think. Tribunals is exempt. They're not even a person. CBDT is also a member of the government. Panchayats is local authority. And Panchayat is not created by courts. No. This is question number 4 for you to figure out an example of AJP. For you to figure out an example of AJP. Yes, so I'm giving you some homeworks, people, because again, inter-syllabus, we need to finish off faster. So you're going to tell me what is the definition of person in tomorrow's class. I will finish the balance off. I have to cover what for you? Total income and tax here. That is what I have to cover. Everything else, I'm assuming you understood. We'll see tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.